Saturday night, and it is Doddie Aid Live number 2. Were you here last year? Did you see us? Did you see us? Did you hear us? Did you look? Did you cook? Did you drink? Did you enjoy? I hope you did, because you are back for another fun-filled evening of entertainment. Forget Ant and Deck. Forget taking your mask off. It is Snood Saturday night. Get yourself in here. Come one, come all. North and Mids, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Babas, and the best team of all, Team South. Yes! It is all happening. You've been out and about. You've been rowing. You've been running. You've been cycling. You've been loony duking, Doddie duking. You've been doing it all, and we have loved seeing it. Please make sure you get involved with all of the conversations tonight. We want to hear from you. We want to see what you're doing, where you're doing, and who you're doing it with, because it's Saturday night and we are here for some entertainment. My name is Bruce Aitchison and I will be your host, and I am absolutely honoured to be with the boys from Whoosh. So they are looking after me. They're pushing the buttons and pulling the strings and shouting at me and flashing signs to say shut up and get on with it, and they do it better than anyone. Delighted, absolutely delighted. Doddie will be joining us later on from his kitchen. I think he'll be getting waited on hand and foot. Let's face it, that's what people with titles do, don't they? And we'll be joined by the man himself that came up with all of this nonsense, the one and the only Mr. Rob Wainwright. We've got stars from football, from music, from rugby, from the world of entertainment. It is all on. But you're not here to look at a Darrow O'Brien looky-likey or the guy for Despicable Me. You're here to see and hear from the important people. So without any further nonsense, please bring in the man from the top of the tree. What can you say about this man that hasn't been said about him before? He is as mad as a box of frogs. His organisation is needed yesterday but told tomorrow. Bring him in. It's the one and the only Mr. Rob Wainwright. Hello, sir.
How we doing? Yep, here I am. I've advertising a bit of a Scotch lamb, I think today, Scotch lamb, and I've in my Splendid. I think was that the dress code Splendid?
Splendid.
So I'm trying to look splendid.
I like the stripes. How tall are you? Are you like a giant? I feel like I've got to the top of a beanstalk, and I've reached the scary giant. So are you ready to cook up a storm, sir?
I've done most of the work. I think I started at midday today, and the chicken's marinating, just needs to be slid onto its skewers. The prawns are marinating. The frying pans are waiting here.
You're the whole package, aren't you? You've got it all. You're a master in every room of the house. You're a master in the field, on the loch. On the rugby field, you're the whole package, Rob Wainwright.
Not what my wife is saying today. So I have done the washing up. So
that's well. A man that sees things through. A man that sees things through. Right, come on. You cooked up all of this nonsense. Last year's success was. I don't think you could have imagined that.
No, I mean one can imagine, but I didn't expect it to happen. But it was amazing. Just particularly over those New Year into the first, second, when the numbers were just going up, it was just exhilarating, and it was a massive sort of whoosh ride right the way through, finishing off with what we're doing tonight. It isn't at the end this year, but the dinner party last year was such a finale and celebration. And here we are again, a wee bit early, halfway mark, because we've got other things we're doing at the end of Doddie Aid. But it's been a huge success. It's so exciting to be involved again this year, to get everything up and running again. And here we are at the halfway mark, celebrating with a curry night, which I'm really looking forward to.
Now, I think at last count, I'm in 17 different WhatsApp groups for Doddie Aid. You must be in at least 3 times that.
There are ones occasionally I go down to and realize things I haven't done. Whoops. In fact, there's 2 people. There's 2 people, and I think one of them's a Mrs. Irving. I apologize. I know that there's 2 emails that I've missed, and then you go back to try and find them. You know they're there somewhere, but you don't know who sent them. So I'm apologising to two people who've offered to help with the ride, but I will get around to it, honestly. So
yeah, we know you will. You're a busy man. You're a busy man.
We're a busy man, and the great thing is we're just one big massive team. You know, right at the hub we've got Ian Fraser and Alex Glyn Percy, who are managing the social media, managing me. So a big hand for them. And then behind that, in all the districts, yourself, Keith and the Whoosh team, and just so many people involved that to thank them all would take all night. But it's that's what you can do when Doddie's involved, the door's open, and we've even managed to pin McCoist down tonight. That was a very silly thing to say, wasn't it?
Careful. There is no evidence to suggest. There is no evidence to suggest that McCoist has been pinned down. It's like trying to mark him in his pomp with Rangers. So we've been delighted to include some schools in Doddie Aid this year, and we've got a bit of a leaderboard, and hopefully tonight is going to be a bit of a spur to try and get some more involved. Give us your pitch to try and get schools involved, Rob.
Well, we set the prize up. We've got the school leagues set up, and the scoreboard at the moment is favouring the largest school in Europe. They did have a bit of a head start with so many people, but 141 for George Watson's a huge congratulations to them. And next in line, you can see the list. I won't read them out, but the prize for the school that ends Doddie Aid with the most people in their league is getting an internationalist, a Scottish cat, to come along and train. But for everyone else, anyone that hits double figures signed up, there's also there's a whole package of goodies, of T-shirts, which Doddie Aid T-shirts personalised for the school that are getting provided by the foundation. So there's more prizes other than just the winners. Can take a hell of a job to catch up with George Watson's college by the looks of things.
Yeah, but let's hunt them down. Let's hunt them down.
Exactly.
And
get hunting.
Now, I love this. Let's have a look at the club leaderboard, because I am intrigued by this one. Where's our little hotbed in Chippenham? What? I don't even know where Chippenham is. That's because I'm a PE teacher, not a geography teacher.
Chippenham's somewhere down near Bristol, I think, and I can't explain it. But we have a hub down there near Gloucester. So if Chippenham's near Gloucester, that may explain it. But
maybe it's near Jill Douglas's Waitrose. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the people
one?
Jill
She's
bumps
got
into
3
at
or 4.
Waitrose. I know, it's because she keeps drinking them out of gin and she has to go to another one to find the new stock. The Dumfair are going to burst in there. I'm going to give a mention to Moffat Rugby Club, because, Rob, you and I were down there not that long ago, and you caused all kinds of carnage, and you've got previous in Moffat.
Whenever I go down there, things happen, and it isn't always my fault. To be fair, it wasn't really my fault this time when someone popped a 5 penny in my pint. It wasn't my fault. But
it was your fault, because you were making people drink cocktails that had hand sanitizer in it. So it absolutely was your fault. But the guys and girls at Moffat are doing a fantastic job. They all met and went to St Mary's Loch for the Doddie Duke. Now, I'm reliably informed by the wonderful brothers who are writing me notes and expecting a PE teacher to be able to read from far away, that Chippenham is near Bath.
All right, there we go. It's in Wiltshire, my county, where I live in the southwest. Harry Newton must be the king of Chippenham then, mustn't he?
Good on you, Harry. Harry, I love that you're drumming up some support there, and Horsham ladies are right into it as well. Thank you to Horsham ladies. Now, there's a little thank you to Halborough on there, and I'm sporting my unique only one in the world with my mention in Doddie's diary. So I've got my Halborough t-shirt on. So thank you to them, and thank you to Cycle Jersey, who must get more complaint emails than any other organisation in the world in January. Where's my snood? Where's my snood? But my best mate in the world, Adam Hay, received his today, and he's in New Zealand. He's in Cambridge in the Waikato, and he received his snood today. And unlike Neil McElroy, didn't have to pay £18 tax on it. The miserable buggers still wanting Carol Hogg to pay for that. David Laidlaw and Hoyk, good lad, 100 miles. That is, you can't sing the Proclaimer song yet, but keep going. You'll get there in the end. Hello, Laura. Wonderful to have you. So, Rob, we're going to have a cracking night. We've got lots of good people involved, and we're about to line up the beer tasting. You have been known to have a beer or two. Are you a connoisseur, or do you drink for effect?
I haven't really drunk since Moffat, to be honest, when we were last together.
Scud it yourself on hand sanitizer.
I haven't had a beer since last year, so I've got a ticket. I've been given a ticket to have one of each of the 3 beers tonight. So I have to say, I'm getting a wee bit twitchy now. I'm very much looking forward to the next bit and getting 3 beers down my neck.
Yeah, I was during the week, as you know, speaking to Jason Fox, who met Davy at a wine tasting. I think Davy only that's how Davy's social circle has developed. Definitely around alcohol, but mostly around organised alcoholic consumption.
I think this will be the first time he's done a beer tasting session with anyone now. This is a whole new thing. Beer tasting.
We're breaking ground.
Obviously,
Doddie Aid, breaking new ground. Well, we're going to leave you to it, Rob. We're going to leave you to it, and you can go and you can sup and you can learn about beer from our 2 masters who are coming up. So we'll back to see you very, very soon.
We'll see you later in the night. Look forward to it. Have fun, Bruce. Keep up the good work.
Always. Thank you, my man. Love it. How good. He is off his jump, isn't he? But we absolutely adore him. So let's get going, because you're all waiting. Finger on the ring pool. You're ready to go. You've got the bottle opener. You don't need to let these ones breathe. You just need to get fired right in. Let's bring in Captain Davy, and the man with the music is coming to join him too. Hello, Bruce.
Good evening. Great to be here.
Good evening, Brucey.
Oh, and Davy, look at this with the wee award over his left shoulder. Talk us through that.
This is something I picked up at the Doddie Award ceremony, which was a fantastic fundraising and positive event that a lot of the Doddie Aiders attended, and everyone associated with the foundation at Prestonfield House in Edinburgh. And I arrived with my wife in the nick of time after we put our wee lad to sleep. And as soon as I arrived, pretty much I had no idea. I was on stage with Andy Nicol to receive a Doddie Champion Award for all the work I've done over the last couple of years.
And hugely deserved, because you're an absolute star. And I was walking through the streets of Edinburgh with my Happiness is Egg-shaped hoodie on, and somebody tapped me on the shoulder and went, I think you know Davy. And I think it was your nephew, maybe, or something.
Okay.
He was like, oh yeah. And I was like, yeah, I know him. And then it just disintegrated into stories about Davy drinking, which we're used to. Bruce, the man with the music, how's your fiddle?
It's not bad. It's getting all ready for Kettle Connections, which I'm down in Glasgow tonight, and I've just passed 50 Vikings on a torchlit procession in the middle of Glasgow. It's pretty bizarre out there. I always find Glasgow pretty bizarre every time I come here anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised. I thought you were going to say it was a stag do.
It kind of looked, and I know they have these strange marches in Glasgow anyway. I just wondered if it was one of them. But
did he bring that in here?
No,
Did he bring that in here? So, Davy, we're intrigued by this one. You're going to enlighten us to some beers. Are you looking forward to this?
I mean, I can't wait. As Rob said, this is uncharted territory for me. I'm obviously I'm used to describing the nuances of champagne and wine for my profession. So, and my only connection with beer is recreational. So I've never led the beer tasting before. So I'm very much looking forward to taking us all through 3 choice tipples with Bruce, who is a man of many talents, but I know he runs a bar. So he's a beer expert. So I'm sure between us both, we'll come up with some nuggets of information.
I would love, I've never been, but I am keen to get up to Inversnecky and get into this bar, because I've got this romantic picture in my head of the fiddlers in the corner. It'll be nice beer in the taps. There'll be an ambiance that is just about right for a man of my vintage, and I am desperate to get up there.
That's exactly it. Yeah, we've got the fire on in the corner. There's music on all the time. The piano is actually in tune. And we have a great array of Scottish beers, wines, and not so much wine, sorry, gins and whiskies right across the board there. But yeah, there are just so many great Scottish beers. That's when I grew up and I played rugby, there was two types of beer. There was lager and dark, and you got big jugs of them, and they were flat, and you just desperately tried to horse through as much of it as possible before you got on the bus to travel back up to Inverness.
But now we're much more responsible. And gentlemen, I'm going to leave it all in your very capable hands, and I look forward to hearing and seeing what goes on. Enjoy.
Brucey, I hope you've got a beer in hand. Good man. Okay.
I'm ready to be educated. Go for it.
Thank you. Well, Brucey.
Yes, indeed. I think that was a rather nice link into the first beer he seems to be promoting there.
Exactly. We're on brand. Well, I'm going to open. Here's for brand as well. I'm going to open my Genius with my Genius bar blade here. So I think we're going to kick things off.
I've just sprayed that all over the top of my computer, which is not a good start to the evening. But I've got to say, we've got a great link to this, the Doddie's Dream video that we did last year. Jason Clark produced the whole video along with Stuart Campbell, but he's also the man behind Genius Beer, and a very fine beer it is as well.
It is. I mean, Genius, they're an incredible company, and we'll talk about their beer in a minute when my head is settling nicely in my glass here. But they have got obviously a very close connection with the My Name's Doddie Foundation. 5p from every bottle or can goes to the foundation. They've been a huge supporter since the Genius inception a few years ago. So we've got to thank Charlie, thank Jason for all their support they do and keeping us well watered throughout Doddie Aid.
Yeah, well, Jason came up to our bar in Inverness and took up. In fact, he did an online program with us, told us the whole history of the brewery and what they were trying to do. And it was just before they appeared on the Dragon's Den, which I don't know if you've seen the episode, Davy, but it's one of those ones that just make you kind of shaking all the way through it, going, "Oh, come on, guys, come on, please. Oh, don't say that." Well, yeah, I don't think they got the support of the Dragons, unfortunately, but they did get massive support from the public, because I know the beer is selling really, really well.
Well, it's delicious beer, And we'll also start off with the first. So cheers, Bruce, from Edinburgh to Glasgow.
Indeed, this is, and the great thing about this one is, I think their big selling point is the fact that it's only 3%, but it's got less calories than an apple.
I read that on the website this afternoon. My preparation was actually drinking one of these prior to going on, but I did see that on the website. But I think there's a huge trend across many industries to lower calories and units, particularly, and we see that in the wine trade, beer trade. There's a lot of no alcohol spirits, if that term exists across the UK now. So I mean, they're riding a wave right on the trend, but importantly, there's a lot of non-alcohol, low-alcohol products out there which, in just achieving the low alcohol, whether they arrest fermentation or strip it out, they strip out flavor and quality as well, which couldn't be further from the truth with Genius, because it is only 3%, but it drinks like a delicious craft lager. So cheers to everyone this evening.
This is absolutely perfect for your curry as well, because it just... I think it takes away any sting that you might have from anything that you've put in, the odd chili that you've added in extra. It definitely helps with that kind of thing. I don't think it's too far away from maybe some of the Indian beers that we're going to be.
No, exactly. We got one Indian beer coming up, and another Scottish one. But that's the great thing. In Genius, it's got all the flavor you'd want. It's got nice acidity. There's a touch of bitterness there, so it's going to go great with curry. And there's just a degree, not of residual sugar or sweetness in the beer, but there's an edge of glycerol. There's a texture there which is going to help with any heat. It's a fine way to start. I met Jason after a few of the people, hopefully, who will be watching this. So do comment if you were there in the summer at the Doddie ride down in the Borders, and it was a dreich day. My God, we got absolutely pissed on all day over the. We did the big game, which I think was just shy of 93 miles, and there was nothing better than walking into that tent, a steamy tent at the end of the ride across the muddy grass, walking in, seeing Jason there, and getting handed a genius beer to toast the ride afterwards. So that was a fond memory from my summer.
Well, I'm slightly worried that my wife is watching this and goes to the fridge to go and enjoy her can of Genius, because this is hers. I stole it. This
So you've stolen your wife's beer. You're not going to be in the good books.
Yeah, she really loves this, and as does Anna Massey, who plays the guitar with me as well. They are both big fans. They don't drink beer normally, and as soon as they tasted this, it was like, oh, that's nice and light. We think we can enjoy this. So I'm sorry, Joe, if you are watching this at home, don't go to the fridge. It will just bring disappointment.
Yeah. I'm conscious of time, so
yes.
Big thanks to everyone at Genius. But I think we better move on to our next brew, Bruce.
This is one of my favourite beers of all time. From up in the northeast in Ellen. I think nearly everybody in the world has heard of Brewdog. They've absolutely exploded in the last decade, I suppose, from being a kind of two-man operation up in Ellen. And they've done it. Definitely, they've done it their own way. They haven't, I mean, they've taken on a kind of media battle with just about every brewery out there. They've been offensive to just about everybody, including Vladimir Putin, which they've been quite impressive with. But I think they really made their name with a beer called, I think it was Tactical Nuclear Penguin.
Yes, exactly. It was about 40-odd%, wasn't it?
It was, and I think they sunk it into the sea to let it. There was a lot of hype about it, and it was served from an otter's mouth or something like that as well. It was
they've done everything. Otter, it was some sort of, was it a marmot? It was some sort of stuffed dead rodent.
Yes,
yeah,
that's what it was. I've never tasted it. I've got to be honest. I don't really fancy a 32% beer. I've got to be honest.
No, I think leave that for spirits or fortified wines. But what they have done, I mean, they've been so disruptive in every marketing or product that they come up with. They're disruptive. They're rightly or wrongly, they capture a lot of headlines. But Punk IPA, I mean, it's changed. I think craft beer was quite a niche beer before Punk IPA launched on the scene. So I think they've opened up the category for a lot of smaller breweries, like you were saying earlier. I mean, there's so many amazing grassroots small breweries all over the world now, let alone in Scotland. So it's actually hard work on your liver to try to keep up with all the new breweries opening.
It is, and the funny thing is they've got some brilliant names now that are coming out for all these beers. I had a quick look tonight at some of my favourite. Audrey Hop Burn, which I thought was great. Tart Side of the Moon for all those Pink Floyd fans. Hazed and Confused for the Led Zeppelin fans. A Hoppy Ending, and The Neighbour of the Beast for Iron Maiden fans. All out there. That's the kind of names that you don't get export or something lager now. They've all got these crazy names, and the great thing is with a lot of the breweries in Scotland anyway, they're collaborating as well, so you'll get 2 or 3 of them just getting their head brewers together and producing something different.
Very much so. Yeah, a couple here in Edinburgh, New Barns and or Pilot down in Leith, and they've got some great collaborations going on.
Yeah. But the funny thing was, when I first tasted this IPA, I'd never really tasted a hoppy beer before, and I wasn't convinced at all. The first mouthful was like, oh. And there's still some of my mates who are like, no, get the flowers away from my lager.
If you're a purist, you stand away from this hoppy spectrum, because actually, arguably, you're tasting the hops rather than the beer or any fermentation character. I mean, I had to look up. There's actually, I think there's 11 or 12 different hops used in Punk IPA. So you've got this spectrum of aromatics, flavor, and then bitterness on the palate, which I think, coming back to the food pairing side of things, we were talking about how good the Genius is with curry, but I mean, just a rule of thumb from working in restaurants as a sommelier in wine, but it's the same principles when you come to matching beer with food, is you match intensity with intensity. So the stronger the flavor of the beer or wine, the stronger the dish it can live up to. So I think the Genius is delicious with something like what we're going to be having this evening with the chicken tikka masala with the butter sauce. Delicious, rich, but not too spicy. I think if you're going to have a punk IPA, this could live up to, like your Madras, your Fowls, your Vindaloo, something really ripping hot, full of flavor.
Yeah, I absolutely adore it now. And I've got to say, the only problem I have with it is that in these cans, it kind of feels like it's a soft drink. So it's actually a little bit too easy to...
It knocks back, and you're on your arse after a few of these too. Good thing with Genius, lighter, it's a lighter style, 3%.
Yeah.
You can happily have a few beers and not feel too worse for wear. Beers like Brewdog, I think it's almost 6%, isn't it? It's pretty strong.
Yeah, 5.4%. And I love that postmodern classic is what it calls itself.
Well, cheers to everyone at Brewdog. I think we're running out of time already. Yes, so we've got to move on to the third and final beer. And this is Cobra, which is a curry classic, which everyone will be familiar with at home. I don't know, did you look up or you might know already, the history of Cobra, Bruce?
It started in 1989, which made me... It was one of these things when you saw it in an Indian restaurant, you always thought, oh, that must be real Indian beer. But I think it was actually started in England with an Indian family, and it has just become massive. I mean, there's basically two of them that are in every single Indian restaurant, Kingfisher and Cobra. And I've got to be honest, this is my favorite out of the two.
I know, I'm a big fan of Cobra. In fact, I looked it up. It was started by as a British Indian guy who graduated from Cambridge University, obviously a smart cookie, in a lot of debt. And he started Cobra. Again, I think the marketing strapline is he didn't like the way either dark ales or fizzy lagers went with food in the UK. Either they're too bitter or too fizzy. So he came up with Cobra, which is a nice mix of bitterness and richness to go with the cuisine of India. So, but we can't deny, you'll find Cobra in pretty much every curry house across the country, and it does go beautifully well.
It does indeed. I think the only issue I have with this bottle is that the supermarket I had to nip into only sold a massive bottle rather than the smaller ones that you get. So now that I've opened it, I'm probably going to have
Hey, it's a party in your room tonight.
Oh, I know. I can't wait. Yeah. I don't even have the curry to go with it.
Just the beer. Well, enjoy
just
it.
The beer.
I saw Happiness eventually. Bruce is asking how to pronounce my surname, and there's one. It's a peculiar surname. It's Polish. It's 3 letters, but it does throw a lot of people being as close to the alphabet as it is. But the best way to remember it is Dr. Zhivago. You pronounce it Zhiv, Z-Y-W.
Well, I'm glad you did that. Because I've been looking at it, wondering how on earth to do it. I must just say hello to an old rugby friend of mine that came up there, Colin MacGregor, who's part of the North Midlands team there as well. Good to see him there tonight. He certainly knows what it was like when we were at Edinburgh Uni drinking flat lager. I think it was 4 pints for £1 when we were there. Not good for you.
Not good. Yeah, I mean, beer prices these days. It's a good judge of it's funny, isn't it? When you go on holiday or when you go to a new city, the first question you ask, how much was a pint? And it's always a good sort of benchmark around how expensive a place is.
Maybe that's the way we could do a rate of inflation from now on for all of us to understand.
I was doing in London. You'll never guess how much a pint was. You'll never guess. Yeah. You'll never get. Go on, guess. How much was it? How much was it? That's my favourite Scottish question.
The other one is, you should go to Norway or Sweden or Denmark. Oh no, you can't go there. How could you live there? It's £7 a pint.
I'm going to Dubai for my holidays. Can I go there? They didn't serve alcohol. I think you'll find they do. If you look hard enough, you'll find it. Gentlemen, I love that. Are you 32% beer? Are you kidding me on?
No, it probably sounds as disgusting as it probably is. I think it's I think it might have been a marketing gimmick.
Let's stick there 3%. Let's stick there 3%. Gentlemen, enjoy. Bruce, I am worried that we come back to see you later and there's 50 Vikings in there or try to suck off one bottle of Cobra. So be careful. Just be safe in Glasgow Village, please.
We'll do. Cheers for now.
Gentlemen, cheers. Love your work. Love your work.
Yes.
Folks, please get involved. We are very keen to see where you are and who you're with, because it tells me up here we've got over 250 people tuned in, but that could be 250 families of 12 if you're from Hawick. So that could be a lot of people. That could be a lot of folk. So send us in some pictures, use the hashtag Doddie Aid, get onto all the socials and show us what you're up to and who you're with. And if you're watching Ant and Deck, I will find you. I will find you. Gru, remember, me and my minions will find you. Now, you've had the beer. You're all sorted. You're ready to go. You've had some genius. You're punk. You're onto your Cobra. But we got to have some food. It's late. I'm fading away here. I'm beginning to feel faint. So it's time for possibly the greatest double act in forget Ant Deck. Forget Phil and Holly. Richard and who? It's time for Dougie and Nick. Look at these gentlemen.
Or Nick and Dougie.
Nick, okay, we'll go with that. We'll go with that.
So
it looks like Dougie's ready to serve rather than cook.
Oh, no. What did I say?
Either that or he's just played a couple of frames doing the social club.
I never got the memo about the dress code. So
dress code's fabulous this evening. What happened to you, Bruce, for one thing? And certainly what happened to you? Honest to goodness.
But no, do you want me to be honest, right? See if you put on a bit of weight. Waistcoat no longer fits me.
This is actually a girdle, not a waistcoat.
I couldn't find my spankies.
I hear you there, Nick. I nearly took the eye out of a geography teacher when I went to visit. The bottom button of my waistcoat came flying off and nearly took her eye out. So there's a lawsuit pending. Gentlemen, I can't wait to see the nonsense you two get up to, and my mouth is already watering. So please go for it and entertain, educate, and get us going.
There's a little issue, Bruce, because we started a wee bit late, so we're already on our second Cobra, and they're quite big bottles.
Yeah, we also we've had Genius as well.
We had Genius just to get us going.
Big supporters of My Name's Doddie Foundation. Of course they are. But what
so,
are we actually doing? We've had
we is the important part, because this is a double act. Right, okay. You're going to make cow chumber, which is a Indian sort of salad. It's in that book, Shum. It's described as a mess of red onion, tomato, and cucumber. Yeah. So if you want to split that cucumber, take the seeds out. I have shown you this several times.
I've shown you this, yeah.
Okay. In theory. Chop up the tomatoes into little strips like this. Okay. Oh, is this the thing we can?
There. Oh,
that one there. Yes. Okay. And we're just going to marinate a little bit of lime juice and salt, which sort of cures it a little bit, and then we'll come back and finish with the dressing later on.
And remind us what the main course is.
Main course is going to be chicken tikka, butter sauce, and chapatis.
Okay.
For the starter, we've got chili garlic prawns with the cow chumber salad that Dougie's going to make. I am going to marinate the prawns in here. Fiona is working the what do we call this? The
action cam,
or the chalk cam. I think it was referred to as well. Dougie, very colourful and bright and very confident start, Dougie. So in here, pretty simple, a lime. Just going to zest that. So to take off the outside of the lime, there's probably more flavour in the oil on the outside of the lime than there is in the juice. So it always pays just to take a minute to get that in there. So you get that lovely limey flavour. So Fiona, who's operating the camera, if you smell limes, just nod with the camera.
Well, they're on my camera now. They're actually on mine, but I'm doing nothing. Really.
Oh, right. Okay, well, what I'm doing is better, more important. Sorry. I just said that. That's just not like to think it. So, zest the lime in here. Okay. Now, if you did your homework, you'll have seen us making ginger garlic paste earlier on. So this is just equal quantities of garlic and ginger, whisked up with a bit of water in a food processor or liquidizer. And it is the kind of cornerstone of so much Indian cooking. And almost you can't use it too much. So we've got lime, ginger garlic, and we're going to add to that chili. So I've just got fresh chilies, red and green. I don't know if I'm chopping away here, but it's not in shot.
Look at there, you're on what's oh, there you go. What's action cam? Where's the other camera? Where's Funa's camera? Oh no, he's not happy. He's not happy that you're not in shot.
No, I'm not, because it's all about you at the moment, and we know how that ends.
Exactly. There you go. Oh, there
Whoa! Here we go. So this is the chili. Dude, can I borrow the scrapey thing? Thank you very much. What's that? So we're going to add the chili into the bowl here. So we've got the lime zest, the ginger garlic paste, or you could just use chopped garlic if you wanted. Chili's in here. We're going to add a little bit of lime juice, and there's a little bit of a kind of Indian Chinese flavour to this. That Indo-Chien, I can't remember what it's called, but quite a strong influence in certain parts of India. So ginger, garlic, we've got the chili in, a little bit of sugar to balance out the lime juice. There's sugar in there. This is homemade garam masala, which we made earlier, and this is a kind of mix of coriander and cumin and fennel and black pepper and cinnamon and cloves
and very, very, very,
very hot chilies. I forgot about that. Yes, Dougie has some chilies that he dried, and when we opened the bag to add them to this, we were both sneezing and coughing for some time afterwards. So that might just re-emerge that chili hit. And then the last thing we're going to add to this is a bit of fresh coriander. Stalks and all, there's more flavour in the stalks of coriander than there is in the leaves. So we're just going to roughly chop that and add it into the marinade, and then the prawns go in, and the prawns are raw. So they're grey prawns, but you know what? If your prawns are cooked, it's not really going to make a huge difference. So fresh coriander, give that a stir, and then in goes the prawns. So these came from the co-op across the road where we are currently, and this is Dougie's kitchen. So last year was from my kitchen. This year it's Dougie's kitchen. This is
nice, isn't it? Do you think it's nice?
Yes.
It's lovely.
It's very similar to ours.
Kitchen International, actually. That's
Kitchen International. Edinburgh-based outfit. Very good.
Very fine job, and very nice of our too.
Okay, now the prawns, if you can leave those to marinate for 3 to up to 24 hours, so much the better. However, we don't have that luxury, so I'm going to leave this for 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'm going to cook them. Dougie, how's the salad?
I think salad's going fine. So we go into that lock-off cam there. So we've got red onion, we've got some tomato, we've got it's a lot of cucumber, and you know I don't like cucumber, so that's fine. So
it's not that you don't like it; you actually hate it.
I really hate it, and this is going to
go. Do you want to make a separate one for you?
No, it's fine. I'll
pick it out.
I'll bulk through the salad. No, it's fine. I'll actually enjoy it. Am I putting it in here?
Yes.
And is that enough? There's quite a lot of red onion in there.
Loads of red onion, yeah. So squish it up into the bowl. Add the tomato. Add the cucumber. A little bit of salt. There's some salt there, and a little bit of lime juice. So I'll add a little bit of lime juice for you just there.
Okay.
And then all you're going to do is stir it up, and the lime and the salt will start to cure the red onion and the cucumber, and it just changes the flavour and texture. Might add a little pinch of sugar.
Okay.
I don't think you said that. That's going to go in later on. The sugar, I just made that up. But
that's caster sugar, right?
Caster sugar, but it's going to work.
Okay.
Okay. The coriander we'll add later on. We've got a hot pan in here, so your marinated prawns.
So you go into that close cam again.
Hot pan.
There you go, perfect.
Have we disabled the fire alarm?
Yes.
Because
actually,
no. Yes. Okay. If the fire alarm goes off,
open that door.
We're opening the door. That's fantastic. So to cook the prawns, just hot fry pan, non-stick is better. A little bit of vegetable oil, and in go the prawns with the ginger, the garlic, the chili, the lime, and just going to toss those around. And when they change colour, they're cooked. And we're going to do. Oh, that's the garam masala for the spicy, which has got your chili in it, and it's just coming back to biscuit time. Woohoo! Woo! That chili is.
Go to that white shop. There's a lot of steam, and there's a lot of.
Oh. No.
I decided when I got this kitchen put in, I decided not to have an extractor fan because
It's got a window
to open.
But it's not chilly. It's got back to nonsense. Dougie made a program about chilies down in the border somewhere. Where was it?
It was Langham, I think.
Langham, yeah. But they're the chili festival. And he brought some back and dried them, gave them to me. But they must be like the hottest chilies on the planet.
Yeah,
Because,
cool.
wait, I'll take that off. That's enough. So, that's how you make the chili garlic prawns. But they're not an awful lot of chili.
Here's the thing. I hope
these outside.
I hope yours is successful at home. Now, as part of the main course, well, he's actually gone outside. Can you see? He's actually gone outside. Thankfully, the dog's not out there. So I'm going to make some chapati flour. Just get the flour together. Wholemeal flour and plain flour. Equal quantities of both. I'm actually turning into you now. It's Julia. His wife is actually almost wrenching out the back door. Look at that. We can see you looking well. Eyes watering. I hope your eyes are watering at home. So, and we're going to make this chapati. A good time to do it now before the main course. You're going to marinate some stuff.
Needs to let the gluten to develop. So, Dougie, you're going to take this away. Meanwhile, I'm going to make the marinade for the chicken. So, you've got the recipe.
Wholemeal
Got
flour.
the chicken marinade. I'm just going to put it in here.
200 grams.
He's going to make the chapatis. We're all struggling with. Here is the answer.
Good gracious.
Mm.
About 200 grams of plain flour. Thereabouts. Can you see that? I don't know. No, it's fine. No, go in there.
No. So Dougie's just mixing half plain flour, half wholemeal flour, bit of salt, bit of veg oil, and enough water to make a nice dough. We'll come back to you. I'm just take a little bit more of that ginger garlic paste. So this is the marinade for the chicken in here. More ginger garlic paste. I told you it's ubiquitous in India. This is the garam masala, which has got that absolutely nonsense hot chili in it. It is absolutely bonkers. So the garam masala is just that, it's mixture of spices, but it has got that lang chili in it. This is my wife is outside coughing loudly. This is turmeric, so a little bit of turmeric in here. It's the marinade for the chicken, and mild chili powder. This stuff is Kashmiri chili powder, very mild, almost like paprika, and that's what we need in here. A little bit of sugar, a teaspoon of sugar, a little bit of yogurt. The yogurt is kind of optional for chicken tikka, but it's not really traditionally Indian. It's kind of used in the UK, but I quite like it. And then juice of half a lime and a squeeze of olive oil, right? Not olive oil, just veg oil in here. And then we're going to mix that together. And this is the paste in which you're going to marinate. The colour of that. And that really does come from that Kashmiri chili powder. So this is what we're going to marinate the chicken in for the chicken tikka. So I've got chicken breast diced up in here. That sort of size, kind of half an inch square or 12.3 millimeters or whatever it is in the metric. Okay. And in it goes to the marinade. And then you want to make sure that it gets really well coated. And then we're going to leave this to sit for a couple of hours. Dougie!
If you want to go on the little close cam there, that's a lock off, which is over. I've got equal quantities of wholemeal flour, equal quantities of plain flour. I've got some vegetable oil, I've got some salt in there, and I've got lots of warm water. And I'm kind of doing this at a funny old angle just so you can see it. Okay. I'm going to need this for a while. And then I'm going to put some cling film maybe on the top just to kind of
or just a T-top.
T-top on the top.
Yeah. How's it looking, by the way?
I don't know. It's you can't see because I'm actually showing it to the camera. How's it looking?
Let me have a feel of the dough. Yeah, that can only take a little bit more water. Okay, so you want to do this now. Give it a bit of a knead. Okay, so just take it out and give it a bit of a knead. Actually, not perfect. Right. Okay, that's going to be quite sticky. It will take me a minute or two. But you want to.
There's some more stuff in there.
Good. If you put a wee bit of flour on there, I will knead the dough gently. In there, beautiful. So it's just, you're kind of doing this thing here, pulling it back and pushing it down. But that's your job.
That is my job.
Yeah. Now watch, don't get it on the nice waistcoat.
It's fine. That goes back in the morning. I'm hired it, so it's fine.
So we're off to a great start this evening, ladies and gentlemen. At home, you should have your prawns marinated and ready to cook. The cucumber just dressed with the salt and the lime juice. You should be making your dough for your chapatis. And the marinade here for the chicken tikka. So you can see that colour coming from the Kashmiri chili powder. So that was all quite exciting. How's that coming on?
That's going on fine.
You need to put a bit of effort into
I know,
that.
but
That's it.
I've only actually put up one sleeve, and now that I'm completely covered in dough, I can't actually do up the other one, so that's fine. I'm only one-handed.
I'm so glad that I haven't bothered to dress up tonight because I'm covered in dough and bits of chicken tikka and some prawn juice.
So we're planning to eat our starter and main course at the same time?
You could have your. I would do it at the same time. The prawns can be served warm, or you could reheat them, or they're served at room temperature. They're absolutely perfect. So I think we'll bring everything together in the final. You've done a great job with that dough.
If you fancy it though, because you're probably starving at this point, if you want to munch your starter while we're waiting to do the main course, which we'll start cooking in maybe about half an hour or so.
Yeah,
I think it's probably worthwhile eating it. So what's the final part? I mean, I know it's out there, but what's the final part of dishing that up?
So we're going to add some coriander to the salad.
Salad.
Mrs. Nairn, could you bring the prawns back in? I know they've banished the prawns to outside because of the chili issue. But we'll just put one together. I'm just going to quickly lose some of that. So,
prawns are there. If you can get
if you give us the what you call it, salad
and a wee bowl.
To that, I'm going to add some coriander, which is just roughly chopped. So the coriander goes in here. Okay, and to that we're going to add a little bit of fish sauce. Now I know this is not Indian, but it's this kind of Chinese influenced Indian. So a little bit of fish sauce. And I'm going to mix that round with a spoon. That's that perfect. Yep. Okay. So just a mess of. Do I have sort of service spoon type thing?
Service spoon we got here. Service spoon.
Yeah, I got something for here. So if we're on this thing in here, a little bit of the salad. Oh, it's the phone.
Yes,
I thought you phoned your mum. You said you were going to phone your mum.
I phoned my mum and I said, "Don't phone me for goodness' sake." That's Doddie here actually phoning me. Go in the wine shop, please. Go in the wine shop now. Go in the wine one, please. There you go. Doddie Weir is actually phoning me just now to see if I've got my phone on. And the answer is yes, I do. Doddie, I'll phone you later. Are you trying to tell us to slow down? I'm going to hang up on him.
You can't hang up on Doddie.
I can.
Man's a legend.
On there, man. Right, hang on. What's happening? It's all very professional, I think. Good gracious.
So, whilst Dougie is chatting to the big man,
actually giving us a hard time. He's actually in his kitchen down in the down near Melrose, and they're doing. Look at that. That's nice.
That's look good, doesn't it? So that's the starter tonight, folks. That's chili garlic prawns with very, very hot chili. This dress
and spicy eyes
and a lovely cucumber salad. Dougie's a big fan of cucumber. You're going to have to sit and pick all the bits of cucumber out.
Come back to us later for the main course, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of not choke ourselves with that lovely marinated chicken.
Yep.
With some chapatis and all that kind of stuff. There'll be more smoke, more mishaps, and all manner of shenanigans when we come back here in about half an hour, I think, yeah?
Half an hour. I did put the caramel salad there.
You did? Yeah. It's going to be
well played, gentlemen. Well played. It was all live. But Dougie, when you were in there, you reminded me of one of my favourite gags ever. Why were the baker's fingers brune? Because he was needing a shit. Way!
It's not 8 o'clock yet, man.
That is gold. You're going to use that one. I know you're going to use that one. And chilies from Langham. Chilies from Langham. Right, get away, you pair. Nonsense. Love that, and look at that. Jeremy Wares is wading in. There's a little gamble going on there that we'll bring up again when we get them back for the main course. You just got to love them. You just got to. They are off their heads, and they're doing it all for our entertainment, for your taste buds, and for Doddie, which is why we're all here, isn't it? And the next bit, I have to confess, was one of my highlights of last year. Lots of people keep telling me about how rubbish last year was, but I was part of an award-winning music video, wasn't I? That's right. Award-winning music video, and it was all down to this gentleman and his band of merry people. He's back. I'm glad there's no Vikings in that bedroom yet.
No, not yet. I mean, they normally do these things later at night, I think.
Do these things?
I think raids and stuff like that, I think.
When you're least expecting it. So, Mr. McGregor, it is wonderful to see you. What's happened since last Doddie Aid? What have you been up to?
Well, it was quite incredible. I was busy cycling last year, as everybody was, cycling, running, everything that you needed to do. And I slipped off my bike up the top end of Loch Ness. And I suddenly thought to myself, why am I wasting my time cycling about here when I could actually be trying to do something with music? And I'd just written this tune, and I hadn't really found a name for it, but it was a fairly inspiring, it felt like an inspiring piece of music. And suddenly thought, this is for Doddie. This is definitely a tune for him and everybody else who's involved in this. And then I just contacted I contacted Blazin Fiddler, the band I'm in, first of all, and said, look, do you fancy doing this? And they said, well, give some other people a shout. So we got in touch with Julie Fowlis, Ali and Phil, Skerry Vore, just loads of Scottish bands. And then when somebody said to me, why don't you try Nicola Benedetti? And I'm going, oh, that's kind of skyrocketing. Well, we'll try it. And she said, absolutely. Manager said, no problem at all. She recorded the piece for us, and we released it as a single. It got to number 9 in the UK charts, just ahead of Boney M, which I found very strange. I haven't looked at the charts in 30 years, and all of a sudden, Boney M were back in it with us. It was like, very odd, but it did really well. So that was last March, I think it went out, and Andy Nichol managed to help us get it onto the Scotland-Ireland game as well. It was played in the halftime break at that, I think it was as well. So it was fantastic, and it's raised a lot. It's still continuing to raise a lot, because if it's online, anybody who downloads it, 100% of that goes, well, after the main streamers take their percentage off, every single artist gave their musicianship for free to the cause. That includes Nicola Benedetti and Julie Fowlis and all these A-list folk. It was quite incredible. But the video itself was put together by Stuart Campbell.
Yeah, we love Stuart Campbell, don't we?
Yeah, himself and Jason from Genius, who we've mentioned already. But they got myself and Anna Massey from Blazin Fiddler into their wee studio to do something. When I say studio, it was actually the barn at the back of Stuart's house. It was but it was quite magical, because he was trying to explain what he was going to do, and I was going, all right, I trust you. He's got a great company that
he really has. Tiger Shark, they are brilliant. Yeah. And he's got his imagination, his creativity is just fantastic. And obviously, the big man wasn't a bad rugby player either.
No, and obviously played there alongside Doddie as well, and just such a nice, gentle giant of a guy. And he produced the video. The two of them put it together. And when I saw it, I nearly cried. Actually, I was blown away by what they did. And that video has still been shared. Every time it's put out there on YouTube, it's also making money for the charity as well. So that's great. So I think really, we're just asking, if you ever fancy learning the music as well, you can download the piece of music. It's £2, and 100% of that goes to the charity as well. So it's really growing arms and legs, and it will continue to do so.
It's unbelievable the number of different fundraising things there are, between beers and gins and whiskies and ridiculous events and Doddie Aid, but we've also got music, and you mobilizing the troops and getting in. Was it just we're doing this for Doddie, and everybody just nodded and said, what do I do and when do you want me?
Absolutely. There wasn't a single question. We had Alistair Fraser over there in the States. We had Jerry Douglas, who is probably one of the most famous musicians in the world of country music. He's recorded in over 1,000 albums. And he, if you watch the video, you'll see him. He's wearing a cowboy hat, and he's got on his computer, he's got a picture of Doddie on there, and he's got his lion rampant in the background as well. And he just did it, at the drop of a hat as well. So it really was incredible. We probably could have had another 100 musicians on it without any problem. And let's face it, folk musicians are not renowned for their keep fit, but the number who have actually taken part in the Doddie Aid this year, our whole band plus friends, including the current, no, she's not the current. She's a former winner of the BBC Radio Scotland Young Traditional Musician of the Year. They're all taking part in Doddie Aid this January. They're cycling, they're running, they're walking and swimming, which is just absolutely fantastic.
Inspiring. Now, we've got some tunes coming up here with you and the wonderful Anna Massey. Talk us through what we're going to be listening to.
Well, these are just some great old session tunes that we just thought would throw a little bit of music into the evening. One's called Jenny Dang the Weaver, and the other is Big John McNeil. And they're both as old as the hills.
But classics, and we love it, and it just uplifts us. So, Bruce, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy some wonderful music.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Bruce McGregor and Anna Massey. We were dancing around the studio here. Toes were going crazy, and then we had to stand up and get going. Does it excite you the same when you're watching yourself?
I'm always watching, despite the fact I know it's recorded. I'm still waiting for a mistake. It's kind of like, well, I hope I did it right. I hope I sent the right copy.
You absolutely did. It was brilliant. You get loads of love, Bruce. Everybody is so uplifting, that music. When you say you wrote that piece and it was inspiring, it absolutely was. We're going to hear it later on in the show, and I've no doubt there will be lots of love for it. We're going to see you later on. Are you going to stick around for us?
Well, I'm stuck in a hotel unless any Vikings come in and take me away, so I am stuck here for the evening. Not stuck. I mean, obviously, I want to be.
You're making it sound like we're holding you Doddie Aid hostage. What's your safe word? What's your safe word? Bruce,
No, I'm thoroughly looking forward to it.
Awesome. Great to see you, my friend.
See you
Thank
later.
you. We love it. Now, you are hopefully watching at home and enjoying. Let's have a look and see. We've got a few photos in to see what people are up to at home. Thank you for sharing. Get on to the socials and give us that hashtag. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Was the chapatis that Rob prepared earlier. he's going to be eating them for breakfast, isn't he? But sometimes that's the best. A wee bit of cold curry in the morning. Yeah, love that. Thank you, Rob. We know you're into it. Now, this one came into us this afternoon and got a bit of love on the WhatsApp chat. So this is Debbie, who joined the Team Edinburgh Cycle. They've been organising cycles on Saturday mornings. Captain Davy, however you say his surname, was there leading the charge. Mark Beaumont's usually there. Nashy's in there. And Debbie has been doing great things with the research into MND, and it was really important that we gave her a shout out. And we hope that Debbie is watching and can take the applause. Thank you so much for all that you do, Debbie. And there will be some more information coming out, I'm reliably informed, on Monday about some more research that is kicking in. So thank you for that. And I think we've got one more. Oh, yes. Oh, no. I'm being given the fingers. We've got to look at that. No chance you've made that. You have ordered that. You have brought that in. And hang on a minute. Is that a Peroni? Jen, come on. Prepare your set. Come on. It looks very good, though. Mrs. D. Smith, she's not giving much else away. Mrs. D. Smith from Norwich. Dougie would hate that. Too much cucumber, Mrs. D. That looks... I'm not even a fan of prawns, but it looks good. Mouth is watering. The pizza the boys had in earlier does not have anything on that. That looks magic. Share your pictures with us. Tell us what you're up to. Show us who you're with. Hashtag Doddie Aid. But now it is time for some rugby chat. And I am extremely excited, although a little bit intimidated and also a little bit scared as to what's coming on. I have admired these three. We've got a bit of a panto villain in too. You can have a guess at who you think that might be. But we are joined by three absolute rugby superstars, good men who are here to share their time with us. The wonderful Paul Wallace, Rupert Moon, the hat wearer of the year, and Austin, who I think is tucking into his curry. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good to see you all. Mooney,
How are you?
how did the rugby go, Mooney?
Oh, we were doing all right.
The aliens have got hold of Rupert. It looks like they've conquered the valleys.
Oh no,
That's the way you normally
do.
That's how he normally sounds. Wally, now we've got a lot of love for Tom Smith, and we've got a lot of love for that Lions team. What was it like backing down? Come on, talk to me about the '97 Lions.
It was great fun. There will know well, and obviously Doddie, who was involved. From start to finish, it was wonderful on the pitch, off the pitch. I'd say first professional tour, but probably the last real amateur tour. In that we, there was very important team building, I think is the technical phrase we use for it. But yeah, it was tough rugby back then. The Springboks, not just the Springboks, but the provincial sides. They were full of a lot of the South African talent we see playing in Europe now, and every game, as Doddie found out against Mpumalanga, that horrific injury he got, they were tough physical games. Boy, we had a good time.
You did have a good time, and that was a proper long tour where people like Austin Healy were very important to keep spirits high. Austin, was that your role?
No, I was there to win the tour series for the group rather than just keep everybody entertained. I think I failed with the first bit, but maybe managed the second. Me and Wally shared numerous good nights out. Like the big lesson I learned from the Lions: if you want to start in the test team, don't go out with Wally in the weeks building up to the test matches. But yeah, it was as Wally said, it was the last amateur tour, really, in a lot of ways. You look at how the game was played then, how the game is played now, and the number of backroom staff. The Lions had more backroom staff than players the last time that they went. When we went, we basically had one man called Stan Bagshaw who did all the kit, all the massage, and gave you all the drink tokens. So that's basically how the tour sorted itself out.
Austin, I've always wanted to ask you this question. We have met, but you won't remember that one. But I've always wanted to ask you this question. What was your best position?
Well, if you ask Matt Dawson, he would say anywhere other than scrum half, because we wouldn't know who Matt Dawson was if I'd have stayed at scrum half.
I thought it was the bench, Austin.
Sorry, Wally. What was that? The bench?
The bench,
I think,
no?
Yeah, I've actually got every England shirt, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I've got a lot of 16, 17, 18, but I've got, the only one I'm missing is 12, from 9 to 21. So it's not, yeah, the bench was nice. It was nice. It was warm.
That is impressive. That is so impressive. Now, Wally, same question to you. What was your best position?
I was on a Thursday night after the Wednesday game. Wednesdays were, yeah. Austin was right. On that tour, it was very important you got picked in the midweek side because Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday were the good nights to be out, as opposed to the Saturday team who had Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah. So the thing was to peak that you got into the Saturday team coming into the test series, the match beforehand. But yeah, that was it. My position, yeah, well, would you believe I was a back row? A bit like Tommy Smith. We were both back rows. I got thrown into the front row at 16, 17. And unfortunately, I suppose it was good when you're playing on a hard surface that you could move about a bit more than the traditional props. But yeah, I missed the back row bit as well. I played a little bit in my early 20s when I was a student over in Canada. And that loved the back row.
Love it. Mooney. It's time to bring back the dive pass. How's the campaign going?
Oh, it's going reasonably well. It's going reasonably well. These young players just need to play on poor surfaces. That was all I did it for, because we were playing in mud. Otherwise, I would have been as good a passing as Austin was. Tonight there was no dive passes in that Scarlets Bristol game. There should have been. It was a tough old gig the last 15 minutes. Blimey, really difficult. I feel for Dwayne Peel. Now he's got to be a coach. He's got to be have his big boy pants on. It's going to be a tough gig for him.
He's big. That is a tough gig when you put your head on the block as a coach. Now, the other thing that we need to see, we need to lose the collars on these rugby shirts. It's time. We need dive passes and no collars.
Yeah, well, it took away from my play, as you know. It was a fashion statement in a way that no one really noticed and no one really cared. But yeah, the old days, they're coming back. Retro will be back in the game now. I'm telling you.
Retro will be back in the game. So what can we expect for Wales for the Six Nations coming up?
You won't know any of the pack. That's the one thing. They're all in the 20s. There's some young players. They've lost 600 plus caps with Alan Wynn's probably got 500 of them. But with Ken and Toby Falatau not involved, they are having to. No Tipperick. Just give some kids some games, and that will help us come the World Cup. But these kids aren't bad. You won't know them, but they're not bad, and they're physical, and they'll surprise a few. And then you got the oldies behind, and with Dan Bigger in charge, he'll be moody, but he'll do a job, and then we'll surprise another lot of people again this year.
You reckon? Well, if they play against 15 every game, Austin's not having that. Austin, what's your thoughts? England for the title?
It doesn't matter. Last year, it didn't matter. Everybody said the same.
Well, Bruce, I was a bit concerned when you said, what's the future hold for Wales? Because I didn't think we were going to get a very positive answer, but then you turned it into a rugby question. So it was a little bit, you could find some form of positivity there. I was expecting you to go into a scenario about what is Mark Drayford going to ban next? Speaking, breathing, kissing? Who knows?
It worked.
They're not going to get rid of kissing.
He's banned everything else. I mean, you could ban everything in Wales, literally everything, except if you said you can't go and watch Wales play a rugby international and get smashed on a Saturday afternoon in Cardiff. If you would have done that, you would have seen civil war. You would have seen them come out and there would have been fighting on the streets. But no, I think Wales are going to have a tough Six Nations this time round. The round of games don't really help them. They have to travel, obviously, to Twickenham, which I'm looking forward to going to. Last time I played against Wales at Twickenham, I think we won 64-10. So, hopefully they can keep it within something respectable this time round. I think Scotland will all come down to the first game. If they beat England in that first game, I think they'll have a very, very good Six Nations, potentially even come in second. But you can't really look past France this time round. The way the fixtures fall, if everything goes to plan, that England-France game in the last round could well decide the championship. Ireland will have a big part. Ireland have a big part to play, but again, they've got to travel to Twickenham as well.
How important has Sean Edwards been for France?
What, in terms of cultural diversity, or
in making them a little bit less French, maybe?
You couldn't make them any less French. If he came into England, he'd make you less English. I mean, Sean is an absolute legend of a coach and a legend of a bloke, and I think he's done. He seems to have a bit of the Midas touch, doesn't he? Wherever he goes, he's got something quite magical about him, and nobody really can put their finger on what it is.
It's
With this
fear.
Harry Potter remakes,
It's fear. He puts fear. I've talked to the players. They're just frightened of him. He intimidates them, and he's old school. He gets in their face, and you don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to be the guy that's not shown on the video. He pulls you up and points the finger, gets in your face, and goes, "Don't you ever do that again." I think he'd go on the pitch if he could.
Yeah, he's still barking. Wally, are Ireland the dark horses?
Yeah, I wouldn't even say dark horses. When you look at the performance against New Zealand, I thought that was performance even more so than France's win against New Zealand. It was the most complete 80 minutes I've ever seen the All Blacks dejected to. I've been to 2 other wins by Ireland against New Zealand, but this was another level again. And when you see it backed up by Leinster, albeit against a pretty weak Montpellier and Bath sides, but those last 2 performances, the athleticism, but also some of the running lines that they're playing some just outstanding rugby. Johnny Sexton's back. He's hungry. He's also angry, which is always great to have. He's a point to prove about the lines. His age, everyone trying to write him off in that regard. I think the front row is very strong with Porter moving to loose head. Probably need a bit of backup at tight head. But other than that, and some second row injuries, I think Ireland are the form team coming into this competition. We've got France and England away, which are generally the 2 toughest games to travel to, albeit we haven't been very successful in Cardiff and had a few stumbles in Murrayfield as well. I think it's Wales lacking so many forwards coming to Dublin. I think I'll be confident that we'll win that one, and it'll be a good way to kick on from there. England away, I think England are rebuilding, and I think Ireland have more experience in the side. And I think that, there's not teams that don't get that many games with COVID matches being called off and everything else that's been ongoing. And I think the teams that are really hitting forming, good match time in Europe, I think that's going to come through again. And when you look at the Munster back row, none of them will get in. And normally that would be a top class Irish back row. The depth in some of the areas is really, really strong. But it's Andy Farrell's mindset where they're playing a bit of rugby, throwing the ball around, and the skill set seems to be there as well. So competition for places. I'm feeling confident if this is a year we go and win the championship. And I think Scotland will beat France as well. And then France will beat England at home. So, that's it. Ireland to win the Six Nations, no Grand Slam.
Oh, yes. Love it. Just neck on the block. Come on, Mooney. What you got?
Didn't you all say this last year? Never heard of him. He's missing. Alan Wynn's too old. Ken's out of it. Who's that bloke? Never heard of him. And then Austin went quiet again.
No. I'm not having that. There's no way that happened. There's no way that happened.
Last decade.
There's no way that happened.
I didn't go quiet, Mooney. I've managed to block the entire nation on Twitter. It's taken me 10 years. I must have spent one Sunday blocking probably 5,000 Welsh rugby fans. It was a fun day, but I agree with a couple of points that Wally's made. I mean, particularly about Ireland, the pubs have been closed there, so they'll be fresh. So, coming into this tournament, they'll be very fresh. The problem I've got with Ireland is they've got to go to France and they've got to come to England. And I think statistically, they've only done a Grand Slam once in this way round. So I think it's unlikely that they win in both England and in over there in Paris. Wales, like I said before, not so good, but I do think it's potentially a 4-horse race if Scotland get off to a good start.
Yeah, well, I like the sound of that. Gentlemen, I'm getting the big wrap up, so a real quick one here. Wally, just a word on Doddie the man.
I lost you there, but
well, lots of people try and succeed. Give us a word on Doddie Weir.
Gentleman, character, legend on and off the pitch. One of my favorite man in rugby. What a star, and brave a person as you can ever.
I love it. Mooney, Doddie Aid, you're fully involved. You're doubling it up. You've got Doddie Aid, and you're working for other charities as well. How are you finding Doddie Aid?
Oh, it's keeping me less fat. Let's put it like that. It's keeping me less fat. I'm trying my best. I'm digging in. I'm trying to help Alex Popham. I'm trying to help Doddie, and I'm grateful. They're both big and bold, and they're beautiful, and I love them both. You're
an absolute gentleman. Austin, are you coming up to Murrayfield or not?
I've actually just been asked if I would come up and host.
Emma's asked me to say, "Are you coming?" So come on, come and see me.
No, unfortunately the FX rate wasn't sufficient enough to enable the journey. Unfortunately, but I would love to have come up. Last time,
the Scottish public will probably have a whip round to make sure you make it.
Make it home. Never mind, make it up. I think they'll have a whip round to get rid of me. The thing that I'm most concerned about is how pasty Wally's looking. He's almost, you can only just see the snood and his hair. I don't know where his face has gone with that white background, but he needs to turn the contrast up a bit.
He never misses a trick. Wally, I'm gonna have to put a hold on that before you retaliate. Let's just give him that one as the final word. He's the lip for a reason. Gentlemen, wonderful to see you. I really appreciate you giving up your time. I know Big Dodge does as well, and hopefully we'll see you all up very, very soon. No, it's not a Barbarians, Mooney. We're Team South. Cheers, gentlemen. Thank you very much. You got to love that. And a bit like Bruce McGregor said, when you ask and you use Doddie's name, the doors quite literally open wide and through they come. Brilliant. Austin Healy never misses a chance, does he? Never misses a chance. Loves a pop. Got to love Big Wally and Mooney, hat wearer of the year. Folks, it's time to get back into it, I think, isn't it? We're hoping that we're going to see some of your pictures. Show us the food, if any of it made it very far. Show us the beers. Who are you with? What are you up to? Use the hashtag Doddie Aid. We've absolutely loved speaking to those heroes. Do you agree? Do you think it's a 4-horse race? That would make life very exciting. Scotland in with a chance. Even Austin Healy reckons Scotland are in with a chance. You've got to be happy with that one. Now, if you haven't already got your buddies registered, get them involved, get them signed up. Let's get them all into it. Now, this is my one and only Christmas present that I got from my lovely wife. Have a look at that. It's my Doddie bow tie. But the issue with it is that it doesn't hide the double chin. So the snoods are magnificent. I got 2 compliments today saying how I was looking so well, but it's because I was able to cover the double chin. So they work wonders for you. They work wonders. Get some more genius into you. Let's get involved. What would we like to do now? Who would we like to see? Let's bring them back in. Yes. Now, Nick, you know Jeremy Wares. Jeremy Wares and you have a bit of history. Now, last year he dropped you in it with a story. And this year he's saying £30 if you'll let Dougie cut your hair at the end of the show.
Hey, I'll give £30 for that as well. And I'll choose what we cut the hair with. Come on now.
Right, okay.
Let's get bidding.
The hair is there, but it's
not for long, baby.
To the highest bidder.
So what are we looking for here?
Let's get it up a bit, yeah.
Okay, we're taking it off. We're going for a Bruce on Nick.
He would pay several £100.
Oh, I've got clippers
to cut my hair, but I would like to be left with something. Some shred of dignity.
Oh, hey, come on. Bald is beautiful. Bald is beautiful. Gentlemen, enjoy the main course. I'm looking forward to this.
I think you would sit the baboon's arse. We'll
just do no. Not the mad monk.
That'd be beautiful. That'd be beautiful. I almost picked up water there. Right, so we've got the starter. Okay. I hope you had the starter because we couldn't wait. I'm sure you couldn't wait as well. the marinated prawns are delicious. My God, they were hot, weren't they?
So what we need to explain to the guys at home is our garam masala contains Dougie's dried chilies from Langham. They've been in his drawer somewhere for about a year. And you think it was a Carolina Reaper?
There was something in there. There was a lot. Well, basically, all
Carolina
of it,
Reaper is the world's hottest chili, and we've ingested quite a lot of it. So our palates are just like probably tuned now to curry. So we're going to carry on with the main course. Chapatis. Dougie's something of a chapati hand. So that's the dough that was made earlier on. Equal quantities of plain flour, wholemeal flour, a little bit of salt, a little bit of oil, and you're going to roll them out as thin as you can.
Okie dokie.
Whilst Dougie is doing that, I'm going to make the butter sauce. So in this pan here, Fiona, that one there, that's the little baby. Pan is nice and hot, a little bit of veg oil. In that goes quite a lot of veg oil. Curries do get driven quite a lot by oil. Finely sliced red onions. In they go. Oh, you all right?
I'm good. I should have worn.
Yeah.
A splash.
So, and a stirry thing. Do you have a stirry thing?
There's a stirry thing in there.
Stirry thing in here. Perfect. So to that, I'm add a little bit of salt, which is there. Thank you very much. How are we getting on? We're getting.
I mean, fine. I'm going to. Well, I almost feel like I'm going to get one of these guys in there. Thank you.
I dinner. I noticed Rob's chapatis, and they were
short box is what they were.
They weren't a short box.
No,
but they were a bit thick. The best chapatis should almost be sort of handkerchief thin.
Like that close camera's gone off. So,
Okay. So,
what's happened here?
So the secret of good chapatis is heat from top and bottom. So you're going to replicate the tandoor using a gas gun. That's a very nice gas gun. Where did you get that, Dave?
I got it from Nicknairn's Accessories.
Is that www.nicknairn.com?
Well, just around the corner. I bought it from the Christmas shop last
So you can see as the heat starts to build up, the water in the chapati will start to boil and it just pops up. It's a thing of beauty. See it? Start to go.
Starting to go. Can you see that?
Nice bit of colour as well. Look at that. That's sensational. It's like a volcanic island rising from the Pacific. I mean,
is it?
I don't know.
I'm going to turn it off.
Go flip it over.
Nice. Look at
You
that.
keep going.
I know, but you have to turn it off because I've set fire to parts of my kitchen for it.
This is why we're having your kitchen this time, not mine. Do you want to get round the edges, make sure it's all nicely coloured up?
Oh yeah, baby. We're going to get a hand in there.
Fantastic.
What my finger is. Which
Oh
finger
no,
is.
that's the wrong one. Press the wrong button here.
So Nick is now in charge of
Buttons.
buttons
Yeah. Sorry, just try to turn the
in
heat
my
up now.
kitchen, so that's tricky.
Yeah. So I've just turned this up. So the sauce, which is just the oil and the red onions.
That's good
Now,
enough for
if
one.
you've got a clean tea towel, leave the pan on.
Yeah, I'm going to need lots of them though.
Yeah. So watch this. Look. Clean tea towel
Yes.
down here. Take out chapati. Put on clean tea towel. Fold clean tea towel over.
That's not clean tea towel though. I'm not having that on the telly. Gracious. That's
They
amazing.
don't know.
They do know. I know. I've got to eat it. Here, put it on the
Oh, nice.
back on to another one.
So the butter sauce, okay, guys. This is the Makani sauce. Onions, oil. You could add other aromatics and stuff to it, but this is a fairly simplified version. And here it is again, the ginger garlic paste. This is the thing that really does lift the flavour. And we're just going to very quickly fry that. And you need to be careful that it doesn't burn. I'm on a very high heat. Okay, so I need to watch very carefully that it doesn't burn. And you can smell. I mean, that just does smell tremendous, doesn't it?
Guys, you know that Doddie is watching.
Doddie's watching. We should go to Doddie Cam.
Whenever you're ready, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
All right,
Let's
mate.
get into the house of We Are.
So now we're going to add.
Oh, big fella.
Woo-hoo!
Hello.
Burn otherwise.
Doddie, I'm glad you decided to be dressed fabulously, unlike Nicholas Nairn.
Well, I'm working that, yeah.
Cat back then.
Hello, boys. Hello, everyone else. A very good evening. You're doing a great job.
And a very good evening to you, Doddie.
After made the first one very spicy for me. Very nice.
It's going well, isn't it? You see the bit we got burnt earlier.
It's going very well indeed. Dougie, I must admit, I was a bit disappointed that you didn't turn your phone off of the silent. Oh, come on.
See you bugger. I phoned you plenty of times. You never phoned me back, and then we phoned suddenly we're on air. And you've done that to me before when I was live on the Rugby on Premier Sports, and you phoned me to see if my phone was on live and loud. Thankfully, I was more professional then. I could feel it throbbing in my back pocket. You chancer. Well done. So, what do you reckon? Going well? Sorry, Kathy. What you saying?
Hey, Kathy.
I'm slaving over a hot stove here.
How was the starter, Kathy?
Delicious, really delicious.
Very
good.
Hopefully you didn't have any of the Hoik chilies.
The Langham chilies are
Langham chilies.
Yeah, who does have a blowtorch for the chapatis? Not me.
Doesn't have a blowtorch in the kitchen, Kathy. Come on, you're middle class. Come on. You've got a fancy house.
Like an aga. You need a blowtorch.
All that land. Come on now.
I love how you do it by minutes.
I've done all of my chapatis, so I'm organised on that front.
I can barely hear you because I've got the old blowtorch on in the kitchen at the moment, but it's all going very well. So, Doddie, how are you doing? I mean, Doddie Aid this year, you thought last year was good. This year is absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
It's really unbelievable. Yeah. The support, the reason behind it is really amazing, yeah. And they said that the year I had quite amazing. So thank you to everyone who supported you so much. And you got to remember, it's been done. You got to go and doing. We do need your help. And with that though, I do ask the question because my group has left. You boys do a great job. And maybe 10 minutes is
You say we're doing a great job. You haven't tasted this stuff, I tell you. That starter nearly took our head off.
Yeah, but in doing that, it's taking Kathy all day to prepare, which is very funny. But yeah,
yes.
the support that we're having for the foundation is certainly making a big difference. I'm thinking about for 5 years and for some reason we're MD. We celebrated on our Christmas. My boy was 21 to Christmas and New Year. So that Christmas another great celebration. So I'm doing very well, but a lot of people are families with M&D and not. So we need your continued support to try and find a cure.
Doddie, I must say, I'm slightly disappointed because remember this time last year, your laddies were cooking for you, and one of the boys was cooking, was he was chopping the onions with a Stanley knife. Class.
Absolute class.
You must have been very proud.
Well, not really, because that slamming out was a farm knife. He opened the Charlie's bills for the cutting initiative. So it wasn't that good. But the boys have gone away. They all after playing the game of Rugby today. So you boys are doing a great job.
Now, Doddie, do you like hot curries?
No.
Oh no! You don't like hot curries? Well, I tell you, you're good. Good that you're not here because this is blow your socks off curry.
Absolute, yeah.
Well, I felt that your phone starter blew my taste bud. out the window.
All depends, I suppose, if you put lots of garam masala that made by Nairn in your own curry, which of course you won't have. But
I did not know.
Nick,
Doddie.
how much will it cost to chop your hair off? I'll give you 100 quid if you give you 100 quid.
Mike's running out of gas. Are you any butane, Dodge?
Sorry, I'm directing several things here. Use that one there. Right, okay.
Uh-huh.
Turn it on. There you go.
Look at that.
Right.
That's beef.
Sorry.
Jesus Christ. Nothing. Oh my God.
Oh, it's burning.
Let's see here. Holy moly.
It was all going so well.
It's gone disastrously.
What happened there?
One job.
There you go, Dougie.
Hey, I'm not really a chef. You know.
Listen to Doddie before he says.
Oh, no. Jesus Christ.
Is that final?
It's a fire. Oh, because someone opened that back door.
Again.
Bloody hell.
Nice chapati, though.
Thank you very much.
You want to pop that on with the others?
Pop it in the other.
Yep.
Oh my God, Dodge, I can hardly speak to you while I'm making this. Are you still with us?
Yeah.
I can only apologise for the unprofessional nature of my chapati making. We're heavily medicated actually in here.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot here. I'm left for a bit more beer.
Good
We're getting another genius.
We've got another genius. I think we need a genius.
Yeah.
So, Doddie, the starter was good. The main course was good. What are you particularly looking forward to this evening? Because we've got more musical interludes. Of course, we're going to go at half time to the Glasgow game. I think Rory Lawson's joining us live, so that'll be entertaining. You know Rory well.
I do, yeah. We'll go back a long way. I especially enjoy working with his granddad. But I think I'm looking forward to your boss, your chief, Ricky Rush. Is performing, I believe, today. So
Ricky, is that sorry, Rob.
It's a cover.
Ricky did a song for us tonight, for you, specifically tonight.
For you.
And he said he was really disappointed and sad that he wasn't able to come along live because he said to me, "Are you doing a Doddie Aid dinner again? Please tell me, I want to be there." So he really wanted to be here tonight, but he'd already booked a family weekend up in Pitt and Weem.
At the caravan.
Not at the caravan. At the tent. Just put some tarpaulin at the side of the car because they can't have any money.
Aye.
And so they're staying up in Pitt and Weem, and he sends massive apologies, but he's done a song especially for you. And him and Lorraine were going to do it together, but Lorraine was out buying the tarpaulin for them to sleep under over this weekend. But he's done a song especially for you, and he sends his love to you, and he sends his love to everyone involved in Doddie Aid because he's a huge supporter of all that you've done and you in particular. And so he's done a lovely song, and he said he had to send all his love to you and to the family as well. So I'm looking forward. I've seen it, and I know it's lovely.
Oh, you've seen it?
I've seen it. Well, he sent it to me, and
anybody would think you were in the band.
You would think I had. It's amazing.
There's nothing
Yes.
that goes to the caravan.
Yeah, I think Rob's lent them the caravan, Doddie.
Imagine a friend of Rob Wainwright. Honestly,
what a lovely boys these were. Paul Walsh, Vipond and Lewis and Neely. They spoke very highly of you, Dougie. But did you boys ever go on that caravan holiday?
Or not, so we've just lost two of our cameras, Dodge, and very well done for filling. I know you're brilliant and you're amazingly good at live telly because we've done a lot of that over the years. And you know, sometimes they say just fill. You did a very good job there because we've lost two of our cameras. There's carnage, basically, there's fire here. We've lost two of our cameras. Oh, you bastard! Sorry, I didn't say that.
And the language, I mean, frankly.
I actually burnt myself.
You didn't notice it at all.
Sore, actually. That was very sore.
So, I don't know if you can see this here. This is for the chicken tikka. So it's the marinade going on a little wooden skewer. And I've got a plate of them here. The sauce is reducing down. Doug's doing a fantastic job with the chapatis. And we're just going to cook the tikka skewer. So we've got a hot grill here. I don't know if you can see it or not. We've sort of
got
lost
close-up cam? No.
No
We've
close-up
lost them.
cam.
We'll have them soon.
What's happened to your cameras?
Doddie, it's turned rather tricky in the kitchen. Don't let me. I don't mind telling you. My lovely waistcoat that I put on tonight, especially for you, has now covered in all manner of flour, all manner of tomato sauce, all manner of chili. And he's cooking, actually, I wish you could see that because it looks really good on the skewer there. He's cooking the chicken tikka.
So the tikka's on the little wooden skewers, just going on here. You can just hear the wee sizzle as they hit the grill pan. There we go. And
goodness me.
Last one going on here. Do we have grill pan back? Grill can?
Grill can. Do we have grill can back? Ah, there you go. Go to man face. Look at that. That's beautiful. I'll tell you what, though, this is not
Who's getting again? Where are you?
I'm hiding. I'm shy.
Sorry, that was. Right, so.
Right, sorry, Doddie. I'm just actually getting splattered here now.
Oh, sorry. Right, this gets a bit floppy.
Gets a bit floppy.
So I'm going to turn this down a little bit. So this is the sauce, the butter sauce. So if you remember, we had the oil, we had the onions, with the ginger, the garlic, the spices. So whilst we were chatting, I added turmeric, I added chili powder, I added sugar, lime juice, and something else. Salt. That's what I added. And I'm just going to taste it to check that it's cooked out. So no raw flavour from the spices. Tastes delicious, actually.
Amazing.
And
you've got one at 9. That's going to be hot.
Yeah, no, but I need both at 9 actually.
Oh my goodness.
This is just, it's slightly.
Power.
So we haven't rehearsed this properly. So this should be a lot hotter.
Really? And no, everyone's really surprised.
No, what?
We haven't rehearsed this.
You haven't rehearsed this? So the butter sauce needs some butter. So we got some butter from a
local dairy.
So this dairy is at the other end of our street. At the posh end of the street, you might say. The opposite end of the street.
Not where you live, anyway.
We live midtown.
You think?
So we can claim to be. And of course, you know, we have that beauty of a fountain road address.
No one wants a fountain road address.
Oh, no, I think you've just offended everybody in Fountain Road.
They're not watching, they tuned out ages
ago. We're looking down.
They've already had their tea.
I just got a little bit of that lime chili just going up my snoot there. I think maybe we might. Oh, you've taken that off. That's good. So I'm stirring butter into the butter sauce.
Oh my God, that's got nippy again.
Yeah, and I'm going to add a little bit of double cream into the sauce. In we go there. Hardly any.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
This is there and look away. This is not going to do your slimming any good sauce. We're going to let this just reduce down and thicken up. People have described this sauce as a kind of Indian version of Heinz tomato ketchup. And I know what they mean. It has got a little bit of that ketchup-y kind of thing to it. A little bit more salt, a tiny bit more lime juice in here. So, chapatis just about done.
Almost done. Just got one more to
we
do.
have an issue with the skewers and that
oh, look at that. That's looking good. I wonder how well Kathy's doing. It's a shame we can't get a close-up.
Well, the problem with Kathy, of course, is she's got an aga.
Right.
And an aga is a tricky one for the heat. So
She'll have a wee. I think she's got a wee thing along the side.
a wee
as well.
special. Most people who are good cooks will always augment the agar with something a bit punchier.
Have we lost Robbie Cam? Is he no longer with us at the moment?
I don't like it.
We just can't see you.
My goodness. Gonna put the sauce and the chicken together. I put it in the oven. So I need to show you how it looks. But it's done the cooking a bit different. Boy, who's the kitchen are you working in?
It's the chili in the
What have you done there?
It's the chili. It's his fault. Honestly, it's his fault.
It's Langham. It's the whole village of Langham.
They're growing these mental chilies. They are just insane.
My chicken doesn't look like that, so I'm chicken.
That'll be the Aga Cafe.
No, but I didn't skewer it.
Let me see if I can help.
No, I'm not going to get it out of the oven and show you, but I'll get it in a minute. Hold on, it's a work in progress.
Okay. Cool, we're going to get it.
This time of the night, no one's going to care. Let's face it, because they've been on the Cobra, they've been on the Genius,
yeah,
and soon they'll be on the whiskey. And frankly, what we're eating won't really create too much of a problem. But it's all going really well. Yours appears to be empty. I'm kind of busy just now with mine.
Let me take that one. Get your priorities right. It's your house. I'm your guest.
Oh, now see.
That thing is crazy. I have never. The only time I've seen chilies like this was in America, where we went to meet the guy who grew the Carolina Reaper, world's hottest chili. That's what it tastes like.
Holy moly!
So I'm going to do something a bit slightly unusual here, because these chilies are killing us. I'm going to turn this down. Okay. Turn this down, and I'm going to take these kebabs and put them in the sauce to finish cooking, because I cannot stand standing over them and that chili going up my snout anymore.
Okay.
Could you pass the yeah. Now you do realise that our whole reputation is in tatters after tonight. Yeah,
I have no reputation. Everyone knows me as a buffoon, so that's fine.
Dougie, you are one of the great food guys.
Yes,
you know, and we're seen and loved by millions of people who have been drinking heavily.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I go now. Who are those guys? That Nick Nairn, I thought he was dead. Oh, aye, I remember his dad. Used to be on that 1 o'clock gang.
Now, boys, can I ask, why did you choose that curry?
It was because I love curry, and I didn't think it through properly. I'll be honest, I didn't think it through properly.
Not for the first time, Dodge. That he has to call something through. I tell you, it's glorious. We have it. That's actually, it's unbelievable. As soon as he put it in there,
yeah,
the old olfactory system's working overtime.
So the kebabs are actually immersed in the sauce. I'm only doing this because they keep. Oh man! So do this. I'm going to add a bit of chopped coriander.
Coriander.
I've got 2 syllables to every coriander.
And then I have to shoulder. On the top, I'll get it around a little bit because it's looking much better.
Coriander. And it goes.
You put something, just take it.
Are you going to do
We're going to go get ours.
What will
just need to taste it to check the seasoning. I can't even speak anymore. Oh, yes, it is. That's what it's. Right. Oh, now the good news is this tastes sensational. Okay, the kitchen may be destroyed, our lungs may be destroyed. The door's on, the dogs run away. Well, the food's great.
We're going to plate it up so we can actually open the window and
yes.
Right, let's get a plate.
Okay, done. Oh. Right.
Can you put it on there?
Yeah. You could pick me your nuts, Chapati.
God almighty.
Take the Chapati. There's nobody here. They've all run away. Chapati in the plate. No, it's the run away, mate.
I've got this in the room.
Oh no, you don't need.
Go forward.
Yours.
Chili is now trending. Hashtag chili. Hashtag chili in the lungs.
That was a spoon.
This is like emphysema with spice. Spicy
oxygen. I need oxygen.
Spicy emphysema is not good.
In the.
Come on, boys.
No, you see me the food for you, honestly. I don't even like
a little
curry.
bit of sauce, and I just need a little bit of coriander. I know where it is.
Yeah.
Let me get it. You do some chatting.
He's away outside. He's away outside. He's been outside.
Still here.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this evening. It's 8:45. If this is just some of your tea, we've had lots of cricket before this. Thank God. In fact, I might have much some now.
Oh, man. Right, so to finish off, a final flourish of a little bit of coriander and just a little bit of full fat yogurt.
Oh, nice. Low fat yogurt, of course. That's very important.
Let's see what it looks like.
Well, can we get on close cam? If not, stick it on that one. Hold it towards.
Okay.
Well, there it is.
Oh.
Holy moly.
There she is. That's the vlog.
That does look very nice.
Enjoy. We'll come back to you later on to see how
your lungs are.
Your lungs, your kitchen, how the agate is.
There you are.
You pair have been absolutely magnificent.
Bruce,
Dougie, did you take the batteries out the smoke alarm? Have you taken the batteries out the smoke alarm?
I did. I took the batteries out. And Bruce, you got a pizza and we gave you a hard time. I can't have to say I really envy you. That last half an hour. And
is this camera still working?
Oh, Kathy, good work. Good work.
Oh, look at that. Kathy, can I come there? Oh, that looks great.
There you go.
There was a lot less coughing down at Blue Cairn
That hasn't
Farm.
been a dawdle, it's been a breeze today.
Oh.
Easy peasy, eh?
Just check out the mess.
Look at the mess here.
Why is mine a different colour to yours?
Central kitchen.
Oh my God, look at
Because
all
I made
that.
this.
Who made the Chapati?
Oh, man alive. Right, I'm starving.
Enjoy your tea. I'm going to enjoy that. And, well, we both are. We all are, in fact. And maybe have another...
You're not going anywhere, Dougie Vipond. You've got a job to do. You've already told us a wee bit about Ricky Ross, and we're going to watch Ricky's video that he's done for Big Dodge. Dodge, you love your Deacon Blue, don't you?
I certainly do. I want to see Dougie in action. And actually, he does a very good job. A wonderful guy is doing Nick. And you, Bruce, and everyone else who's supporting the Doddie Aid. Well done. And Ricky especially.
Right, we're going to give you a rest, Dodge. Go and you have your tea, and we'll maybe see you in a wee while. And Dougie's going to introduce the Ricky Ross video for us to enjoy, and then the two of them can go for something to cool off their taste buds a wee bit, I think.
Well, we haven't even tasted anything. We've just got chili in our lungs, and Doddie, I wouldn't do it for anyone else but you. Inhale that amount of chili. Holy moly. But I tell you, I was mentioning to Dodge earlier on, Bruce, when we were talking about the fact that Ricky and Lorraine said to me, you know, we were on tour at the end of last year. We had to cut that tour short because of COVID. It was a pain in the arse. We got back into Scotland. We did 25 shows out of 30. I mean, we weren't able to do Aberdeen and Glasgow to finish off the tour. But Ricky and Lorraine both said to me, please let us know when the Doddie Aid Dinner's happening, because we want to be involved in this. They love Doddie, they love the family, they love the organisation, they love the foundation, they want to be part of it, they want to help, and they want to support. So, unfortunately, with that said, it's this weekend. They booked a weekend away in Pittenweem.
In the caravan.
In the caravan, under the tarpaulin. So they sent a massive apology, but they send their love to you, Doddie, and to everyone who's doing amazing work for Doddie Aid this year, because the effort that everyone's putting in is fantastic. They're getting fitter, they're getting healthier, they're having great fun, but they're raising a wheen of money for an amazing charity. So Ricky wants to be part of that, and he did this song especially for you.
Beautiful.
As I walk through this wicked world, looking for light in the darkness of insanity, I ask myself, is all hope lost? Is there only pain and hatred and misery? And each time I feel like this inside, it just makes me want to say, what's so funny about peace, love, understanding? As I walk home through troubled times, my spirit gets so downhearted sometimes. So where are the strong? And who are the trusted? And where is the harmony, sweet harmony? And each time I feel it slipping away, it just makes me want to cry. What's so funny about peace, love, understanding? Oh yeah, what's so funny about peace, love, understanding? So where are the strong? And who are the trusted? Where is the harmony, sweet harmony? And each time I feel it slipping away, it just makes me want to cry. What's so funny about peace, love, understanding? Oh yeah, what's so funny about peace, love, understanding? Understanding, brother, understanding, sister, understanding, people.
Absolutely stunning. Stunning. Dougie, it was missing some drums though, wasn't it? We could have done with Animal up the back there.
It's quite a quiet tune, but the sentiment is fantastic. It's a beautiful song written by Nick Lowe, and as you said, it was performed by Elvis Costello, and all manner of people have sung that song over the years, and we've sung it as well. We actually have done it on tour, and we did it in the last tour, and it's just such a lovely song. It's just that we love the sentiment of that, and Ricky wanted to make sure that was dedicated to Dodge.
Bruce, did you talk about Animal?
Animal, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. He is an aminal. He is an aminal. You know him. He's an aminal.
It used to be before we did the chilies earlier on, but slightly broken by it. Yes, the whole experience.
All right, Vipond, I've got a bone to pick with you, and I raised this with you on Wednesday night. I booked tickets to come and see you in Sunderland. You cried that one off. I booked tickets to come and see you in the Weege, and you call that one off. You're coming to the Castle. I'm a wee bit worried because if I book a ticket, you're going to call it off and disappoint Edinburgh as well.
Yeah, we are. You're the Jonah. It's entirely you. It's like if you buy a ticket, we cancel. That's the way it goes. Nothing to do with Corona. Nothing to do with any availability or any of that stuff. We hear Bruce is coming. He's bought a ticket. We're like out of there. We're not coming to the Castle in the summer. If you're going, it's not happening. No, of course it's happening.
I've still got my clean underwear for when I was going to come to Sunderland to throw at you.
Let me. Don't do your clean stuff. I'll never wear that.
Oh, too much. Bruce, I might stick to it. We've got tickets for the Castle, so it's going to happen.
Have you?
Yes, of course we have.
It's going to happen.
You don't even know we paid for them.
Well, you and Nick are trying to keep out the gigs, so maybe we won't do the Castle.
We have cancelled the Hydro twice.
Oh my God!
Wait, Duke, you've played in so many places. Where's the best? Where do you love to play?
Where's been the highlight of my career?
All right, okay. Just reword my questions. Go for it. He does landward and he takes over, Nick. Is this what he's always like?
No. I mean, I gave him that gig.
Oh, you'd never let that lie. Thing is, he handed me the
12 years ago.
He's presented for 5 minutes, and then
two series, Bruce. Thank you.
Anyway, we had this ceremonial handing over the green wellies. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
At your place, and see, the amazing thing was he had these incredible green wellies that were like super expensive, leather lined, and I thought, oh, you beezer, am I actually going to get them? No chance. Absolutely no chance. Oh. So
tonight, I have to applaud you because you've used a wheen and you've used Oya Beezer. I'm so happy with that.
This is the real me.
Yeah.
The thing is, you asked me earlier on, but I can't remember what the question was, but I changed it to kind of get a decent answer. So the highlight of my career, I think that's what you asked me, something along that line, was tonight. Live on Doddie Aid's grand dinner party, inhaling those chilies, speaking to Dodge, hearing his chat, listen to Kathy working on the AGA there, doing an amazing job. I mean, my goodness, what's not to love about that? Brilliant fun, brilliant food, a brilliant host in you, and we're all doing it for Dodge, and we're all doing it for the greater good. It's a fantastic evening, and I'm loving being part of it. We all are. Yeah. And I'm getting to cut his hair later.
Yes, we are cutting his hair later. We are hoping that we're going to have some more bids in to lose that beautiful silver fox.
Not from one person.
I'll put in 100 quid not to have it cut. I will.
So we just need to trump 100.
You got to trump 100.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
I'm going to eat my food before I cut his hair because I'll have hair all over my chapati, and that's never a good thing.
Fantastic. All right.
So we've not got a link to Scotstoun, which worries me. It makes me think the Warriors are maybe getting houked. So Rory Lawson, Half Hoik, Mr. Half Hoik is not going to be joining us.
Okay, I get it. I get it. I hear it now through your now filling.
That lovely filling voice.
I am loving the filling that you boys are giving, and Ricky Ross is getting a lot of love. Now we're going to have a little look at some social media, and we're going to come back to you so that the two of you can consume some of your labours, and it looks like you're enjoying it.
Can you see Doddie? If you see our dog, no, you can't see the dog there. Anyway, carry on. There's Ian Clark and Bankery. Gosh,
in Bankery, I like that. I'm wondering who's taking the picture. I'm wondering who else is invited there. There's a distinct lack of Cobra happening, but I'm really enjoying that. Look at that. Oh, second course.
Right.
Ian Clark in Bankery. That's impressive. Nick, I think you might be able to get rid of Vipond and get Ian Clark in from Bankery.
Yeah, he would fill in nicely.
You like that? Look at this. Northern girl.
Barbarians. No, I don't like it.
We're the Barbarian, although they are hunting down Team South. Gabby Logan is cracking about. Look at this. Kenny Turnbull's from Falkirk, but he says he's in New York. Is that the nightclub? Is that the nightclub in Falkirk, New York?
Yeah. That's Fifth Avenue. I recognise it.
Team South. Look at that. Team South. The family Kellick and Dumfries.
Oh, look at
nice
that.
Prawns. Good prawns. Good prawns.
There's a bit of cucumber in there, dude. There's a bit of cucumber.
John McIntosh done a great job there with
Very good job.
They look like there's more alcohol than there is prawns, though.
Stay in that pan afterward.
There's a lot of drink going on there. There's a lot of drink. Oh, careful with that stick. Careful with that stick.
Right, that's what we need.
Oh, here now. This is the man. This
I know
all over social media with everything that he's done in memory of his old man. And look at that. He's got his hoodie on. He's got his genius. He is looking very, very good. And the work he's done to raise funds and awareness for MND is absolutely outstanding. You can catch him on social media. He's fully involved in Doddie Aid. We absolutely love it. I'm wondering if Doddie's enjoying his scoff because they did a great job. Kathy did a magic job, didn't she?
She did an incredible job. I tell you, another thing, that guy, Paul, you just mentioned Paul from MND. I follow him on Twitter, and I know that he was doing Monroe's, and him and his dad were doing Monroe's, and then his dad got 2L to carry on, and they kept going, and I think they got to do all of them, didn't they?
Yeah, and he's raised a stack of money. He's raised a stack of money. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. He
finished the round in honour of his dad. And what are you doing? Be careful.
It's a little lesson. Genius. Okay.
Easy.
We're about. You've done that before. You've done that before. That is impressive. I'm loving that. Gentlemen, you're getting a lot of love here. There are a lot of people saying that you are the best thing on Saturday night TV.
Well, actually, at the moment, it's the only thing that's on Saturday night TV if you're watching your computer or watching your phone. But I tell you, it's been good. I love being part of this. I mean, the whole kind of idea of Doddie Aid, and Rob Wainwright started this up, a wee while ago. And Rob, he's a persuasive man.
He's relentless.
He's a great man because you don't say no to him because it's for Doddie.
Yeah, I know.
It's for Doddie, and it's like, and it's easy. We're just like, you want to be part of it. You want to do it. Everyone who's involved in Doddie Aid tonight, making their own food, probably more successfully than tonight. And this food's extraordinary.
Have they been to call? Are you going to go to call and entertain the Wainwrights? You could go and use his kitchen.
Well, you know what? Never been invited.
Oh, I have been invited.
You know what? I've never been invited.
Really? Oh, I have been invited.
Have you?
Yeah.
I'm very bitter about that, I have to tell you.
It sounds like the double act could be split up. It sounds like the double act could be...
Rob,
it's a beautiful relationship.
Right.
You love it. Really? Never been invited.
I'm loving it. We've got some very important... We've got some very important people joining us, gentlemen.
If it's not Rob Wainwright to answer that, I'm not doing it.
I'm sorry.
Who's coming on?
Here comes Rob Wainwright to answer the call. Look at him, he's getting even bigger. Rob, Duke's not happy,
Right.
Rob.
So
a year ago, I invited them both over, and we were going to make a meal out of lamb, you see. We were going to have Isla Call lamb, and the invitation stands. So now there's no excuses, okay? I'm not digging. You're the one that's digging.
Wainwright. That's
I have someone to hold my camera now.
You're pretending you said to me, and you actually asked Nick, because you know that he can do marvellous things with your lamb. But you can also... Anyway, having a good night, Rob. Isn't it fantastic? Lovely.
Well, I haven't had a beer for 3 weeks, so I'm really enjoying myself. I've got a wee bit of a flush on. That's partly because we didn't have any mild chili. We only had hot chili because my daughter likes the hot stuff. So
Let's tell you.
I'm not sweating quite as much as you two are, which has had everyone laughing.
They've got their chilies from the hotbed that is Langham. The Muckletoon is the chili capital of the UK.
And it was a Carolina Reaper. It's the hottest chili in the world. And he had it in his cupboard. Mental.
I dried it in my oven, what was it? No, I used to dry it in my oven. Still put them in that thing, they were there.
I hope you've declared that to the BBC, Vipond, that you've been taking things from Langham. I hope you've declared that.
He was giving them, we were both given a wee bag.
A wee cheeky wee bag.
A wee cheeky bag of chilies. A wee cheeky bag.
It's not like that.
Gentlemen, we're about to get serious, but hang around because we will no doubt be back to you. We love you both very much. You have been magnificent. We are chuckling away here in the studio, and we hope there will be more. Enjoy your scoff. I'm going to have a chat to Rob for a wee while. Hello, Robert.
Oh, I've got a big sweat on. I'm not a hot curry man, so being a chef, I can only blame myself. I've got a film of sweat over my face.
Rob, we're delighted with how things are going. We've got lots of people engaging with us on social media. We're keeping it nice and steady with our viewing figures. It looks like we've got families round the laptops and iPads and on those fancy new TVs. And we're going to welcome in a very, very special guest just now. Would you like to help me make this introduction? Because when he was on last year, he had everyone on the edge of their seat. This is the guy who should be running the world, I think.
I assume we're going to Sean McGrath and we haven't missed something. But
we're certainly not going to Rory Lawson.
No, Rory Lawson is...
he's not running anything.
We'll get him at the end. So Sean is in charge of the medical side of My Name's Doddie Foundation, and he's a font of knowledge, and I'm hoping that we can tap into that knowledge now. And obviously, we've had a lot of fun tonight. He says, wiping his sweat away, holding his genius beer. Oh, no, I'm on a Cobra at the moment. But, you know, it's at the back of it all. We've seen Doddie tonight. The spirit is as willing as ever, but we know the disease that we're dealing with. But how much do we know about it? And that's why Sean McGrath, I hope, can tell us a whole load of things. Some of the misconceptions, some of the breakthroughs, and all the things that My Name's Doddie Foundation have been doing to move forward, find effective treatments for MND. So I think we should bring him in. Are we ready to bring him in? Are we?
We are indeed. Hello there, Sean. Look at you. You scrub up well.
I was told to dress up, Bruce. So you know I had to make an effort.
Right. I need you now to stand up because I don't believe there's anything happening south of the equator.
well, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe, who knows?
Okay, right. We might get some bids for that, Sean. We might get some bids in. You never know. After a few Genius and Cobra and Punk and a bit of curry, we could be bidding for that. So, Sean, I'm going to let you and Rob have a bit of a chat. It's very, very good to see you. Last year, this segment of Doddie Aid went down very well because we need to know what we're doing it for. Yes, Doddie, yes, the foundation, but we need some of the facts, and you're the man to give it to us. So thank you very much for joining us, and I'll leave you in the very capable hands of Mr. Wainwright.
Yeah, getting less capable with every minute as the Cobra and the Genius and the Brewdog go down. But lovely to see you, Sean. You're looking incredibly smart. It's an interesting combo, the bow tie and the headband, the iconic headband that we've seen so much of over the last 4 years. It's kind of tracked the progress of My Name's Doddie Foundation. And
I had to make a bit of an effort, I thought, Rob. So I had a few attempts at it, but this is what came out. And I just wanted to clarify something. Am I also invited to Cole for dinner?
Everyone is invited to Cole. In fact, normally the scientists all gather at Drumlanrig Castle. So maybe Cleared Farm on the Isle of Cole next year, okay? Or the end of this year. We may need to find a few spare bedrooms, but we've got a number of our neighbours around, and they'll have plenty of space. We'll be able to spread everyone out. We haven't got quite as many rooms as Drumlanrig, but we must be approaching it.
Absolutely.
As an island, as the whole island. But 4 years or 5 years now of My Name's Doddie Foundation, from the medical side, what are the origins of the medical side, and what's the sit rep on the situation now? Because I know there's been a lot of publicity with the 50 million promised by the government, and obviously I think it's about 12 million raised for the foundation so far, as well as everything that's happening down with Rob Burrows and MND Association. Where are we heading, and where did we start? And I know that you can take us through the whole journey, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely. So when Doddie was sadly diagnosed, as you say, 5 years ago now, he was distraught at the fact that there were just no treatments, and motor neuron disease is a complicated illness, and there's absolutely no hope of a cure. And he was just frustrated that he couldn't do anything himself about this. And after the big dinner we had down in London, there was such an outpouring of emotion and what people wanting to help, that he said, let's start a foundation. And he really wanted to focus on research. There are other charities out there doing a very good job, aiming at patients, people that need equipment, etc., for MND, but he really wanted to focus on the research element. So that's really what we do. And almost all of our hard-earned money, and thank you everyone from Doddie Aid for Doddie Aid, because without things like this, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And so we have 5 pillars, and the number 1 pillar is research, of course. And when we started, there were no clinical trials going on with drugs for patients with MND in the UK. And now, not only because of us, but certainly part of our efforts, we have 260, 270 people, MND patients on clinical trials in a program called MND Smart. And there's about 12 centers in the UK that are recruiting patients into that. So that's from nothing to almost 300 and growing is massive. And there's a UK, that's the UK element. And there's a European group called Tricals, and that's going to start another wave of clinical trials. And again, we are very much part of that. So we're moving at speed, but it's a very tricky disease, and I'm not going to say anything is easy, because it's not. But if you had asked me and our advisory board colleagues maybe 5 years ago, people were confident, but they didn't really have anything to grasp. I would say after 5 years, we do have things to grasp. And I was speaking to one of our professors last week, and he was telling me that he really believes by the end of this decade, we will have meaningful treatments for some forms of motor neuron disease. And that means if we can get some, break some through this armor of MND in some forms of the disease, we will understand the disease a lot better. And we don't believe that it's incurable. We believe it's underfunded. And that's that you mentioned the 50 million pounds, Rob, and that was an effort that took 2 years of us battering the government and working with colleagues. We very collaborative, and we obviously compete to raise money, but in terms of spending money, we're very collaborative with our MND Association friends, and we want to do lots of things together. And one of the things we did together was campaign with patients and researchers for this extra funding from the government into directed MND research. And we were very successful in getting 50 million pounds. But that's just the start of it. This 50 million pounds will be able to be drawn down by the researchers, but that's just the start of it. We want to match that over the next 5 years. We want to really ramp up what we're doing. We've had a great start thanks to all the supporters, but this is just the beginning. It really is.
And I get a lot of questions, when you meet people asking about MND, and we know a lot of people with MND. One of the obvious questions that comes up again and again is Doddie, Joos van der Westhuizen, Rob Burrows, is there a link to rugby, or is there a link to sport generally with the disease?
It's a great question, and I get asked it all the time. And so as definitive as I can be, we don't believe there is a link between head trauma. I think we need to separate what is happening with some footballers and rugby players with this early onset dementia. There is no link, as far as I'm aware, other than anecdotal, is no scientific link between head trauma and motor neuron disease. So that's something we need to understand. However, there is a link between, we believe, between heavy, strenuous exercise, repetitive and strenuous exercise, and especially in the adult population, and motor neuron disease. So quite often, I remember talking to Professor Dame Pam Shaw, and she was a young consultant in Newcastle, and she recognized that a lot of the younger diagnosed patients, so not necessarily people who get MND in their 70s and 80s, but the younger, maybe in their 40s or even earlier than that, she seemed to recognize most of them were fit and lean and very healthy, fell runners, county tennis players, marathon runners, people like that. And so this has started a whole form of research that she's gone down, and she has definitely found a link between a certain gene malfunction called, I won't go into it, but it's C9orf72 gene, which mutates. And if that happens and you are a heavy exerciser, you might be more at risk of entering the disease at a younger age. So it is fascinating and it's interesting, but we're certainly not saying people shouldn't exercise, because the risk of not exercising is far greater than the tiny extra risk of exercise and MND, if that makes sense.
Without a doubt. And is researching backwards into the risk factors for MND, is that a productive way forward? Is it a good way to spend money, looking at people who have what genres of society may be more likely to catch MND? Not because there's anything we can particularly do about it. In the case of exercise, as you say, far better that people do exercise, that even if it increases their risk, very minutely of MND. But as you said, with that gene, does it lead us to any conclusions as to the risk factors and the mechanism of the disease?
Well, the mechanism is extremely complicated, and actually, no one in the world truly understands all of the things that might happen. But the consensus seems to be there's 5 or 6 things that have to happen. One of them might be genetic, some might be traumatic, some might be exercise, there's 5 or 6 things that need to happen to push you into the disease. And so retrospectively, we do have to look back to understand the people that have the disease, what is going on with them, before we can then prospectively do clinical trials on those, on that type of phenotype of patient. So we need to understand what has happened in the past before we can design proper clinical trials for the future. I think that's important. A good example is we didn't even have any biomarkers, and the biomarkers are the human clues to what's happening with the disease. So if we have a certain cancer, there'll be markers in our blood that will go up or down. One of the more famous ones in prostate cancer is PSA. People hear about the PSA score, and in most diseases we can test the blood or test something, and we can find out what is happening with the disease. In motor neuron disease, we didn't have any up until very, very recent. We now have one called neurofilaments, and when the neurons break down, they kind of break up, and there's neurofilaments are floating around the blood plasma, and we can measure these now. And importantly, very importantly, if we test a drug on a patient and these neurofilaments go down, that's an indicator that the drug is having an effect. And so biomarkers are essential. We didn't have any 5 years ago. We now have some, and that just gives you some idea of the progress that we are doing. And some of this work is absolutely funded by the My Name's Doddie Foundation. And I can't really put into words how grateful we are for all the supporters and what they do, and getting out of there in January, snowing and ice and running. And I'm doing it myself. My wife is, and my family, and it's great. I follow it all on social media, and it makes me extremely proud. But that's Doddie. Doddie. Sometimes I think, how does that guy get up every day and do what he does and keep fighting and keep fighting the fight? And it makes us all in the foundation very proud and very motivated. Absolutely.
Well, I hope it's a two-way process, and I hope everyone going out running, walking, cycling, swimming, I hope it's as uplifting for Doddie as well. But moving forward with the disease, is there a sort of an in vitro, which drawing on my very distant medical background is experimental outside of the human body? Is there a way to replicate the disease in a petri dish and then test drugs on it, or are you testing drugs on people and looking for the effect on these biomarkers that you're talking about?
It's a great question. Yes, absolutely. So right now, I mentioned the trial, the M&D SMART trial, and that is using repurposed drugs. And why we use certain drugs in that trial, there are two particular drugs that we're using, is because they have had a signal in a stem cell model. So we create the disease in a stem cell model, and then we expose that to the drug, and we see if something happens. And so that's exactly what we are doing. And you can do in Edinburgh. They're doing this with Professor Chandran, and there's this high throughput screening service that you create the disease with stem cells, and then you go buy a library of drugs from Wellcome, and I think AstraZeneca has one, and a few others. You can buy a library of drugs, and you can put all those drugs through that high throughput screening machine, if you like, and that would see if there's any signal that comes from a certain kind of drugs. So we're testing things like anti-anxiolytics. People that have anxiety use a certain drug. Well, that's shown a bit of a signal. So we need to see what happens in the stem cell model before going into patients. But that's exactly what we're doing. Great question, Rob. And your university training has put you in good stead.
I got my questions from a really intelligent man, and I don't think that was one of them actually. I've always wondered, can we do it in the lab, and then can we move those results? And I suppose the last big question is, what are the main thrusts? You mentioned repurposed drugs for those people that don't understand that. So I'm just going to ask my son to tilt the camera up a little bit. There we go. Repurposed drugs are drugs that have been certified, gone through all the testing, safety checks in the past, and then they found to be crap at what they were designed for, and then you just reel them out again and throw them willy-nilly, lots of combinations at whatever disease it is. In this case, it's MND, of course. That is one that we can all understand, I think. What are the other therapy? Is there any movement in there at all? Is that Sean?
Yes, absolutely. And there's two different kinds of gene therapy. There are genes that certainly have a role in some patients. Like there's a gene called SOD1, and that's in there is the presence of SOD1 gene is around 1% of patients. So you're still talking 99% of patients don't have that gene, but that is a target. Mm-hmm. So there's a trial which was published very recently, which showed some effect of a drug within that SOD1 population of MND patients. But that gives us clues to treating what's called sporadic disease, the rest of it. So our focus on research is around the repurposed drugs, as you said, and it's not throwing drugs willy-nilly, but I know what you mean. It's seeing if they work and then slowly introducing them into motor neuron disease patients. And there is definitely work going on, as I just mentioned on that. What we are also doing is doing more work into biomarkers. That's an essential part. We don't understand the disease, or if we don't understand what a potential drug might do to the disease, then we're shooting in the dark. So we really need more biomarkers, and that's our team down in Oxford is doing a lot of work on biomarkers. The gene therapy, as you mentioned, there's also a protein called TDP43, which is a nasty little protein which accumulates in the cells, and some of the gene therapies that we're working with is knocking this TDP43 out. So there's two trials that we are sponsoring, one that stops the accumulation of TDP43, and the other one clears it from the cells. And we don't quite know what the result of that will be, but we do know that TDP43 is a player, a big player in most, like 90% of motor neuron disease. So this is really something that we are aiming at. And so those are the kinds of areas that we're focusing in on. And the other big area, and we didn't realize this at the start, is personnel. So there's a lot of clever people out there wanting to do good research, but the NHS and the research institutions don't have the personnel to do everything that they want to do right now. So we've said, well, can we help you? And so we're sponsoring a number of what's called postdocs or research nurses to to get these studies done, to get the basic lab research done, but also the clinical trials done. And that's I think we have 5 or 6 or 7 of people up and down the land that we are sponsoring, and more to come. And we really believe, as I said earlier, we don't believe this is incurable, this disease. We just believe it's underfunded. If we really went for this, we know we'll make inroads. And as I said, just this little bit of effort that we've so far made has made a difference. We know it is. So we need to carry on. We need to focus, and we need everyone to help us. And that's why this is why Doddie Aid and all of the activities that you do, Rob. You're a great friend and a great supporter of our charity, and we're extremely grateful.
Well, it's always a pleasure, and it's great to have the opportunity to to hear the coalface side of the disease, because a lot of what we do. There's Bruce smiling away. This is a fun night. We've had a great time. There's a huge amount of positivity, but I think it was important that we touched on what it's all about. And Sean, thank you so much for putting that so clearly and distinctly for us. And we can now raise a glass to the future research. We definitely need to keep on raising more money and keep pushing My Name's Doddie Foundation fundraisers. And we will find an answer. You're going to have to do it for us. And in the meantime, we can go and enjoy ourselves fundraising some more, eh, Bruce?
Gentlemen, if I had a hat on, I'd take it off to you. If I could stand up without showing you my belly, then I would, because the 2 are absolutely magnificent. This, to me, is what shows what we need. We need a team. We need Rob Wainwright to drum things up and get people on screen and get motivated to do things and raise money. But we need Sean McGrath to do that stuff. And it's not just the brains, Sean, it's the passion that we love. We can hear it coming over loud and clear that you want to make this happen. And I think I speak for everybody who's watching, everybody involved in the foundation. Thank you so much. We're very grateful, because this means a lot to us, and that's why we're here. And the work you're doing, we are right behind you. I've no idea what you were talking about, but you explained it as clearly as you could, and we're going to do everything we can to support you, because, as I said last year, you're the kind of guy we want in charge. So thank you so very, very much.
And likewise, guys, thanks for all this effort. And I just wanted to say, it really is, I'm a tiny little cog. There's a lot more important people in this organization, and especially our researchers that we are eternally grateful for.
Sean, you're getting a lot of love here. There's a lot of people who are just saying thank you for what you're doing and how you're going about it. So we're going to give you the rest of the night off, Sean, and thank you. And I really look forward to seeing you sometime very, very soon.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Sean.
You got to love them. And does it not just crack you up that Rob Wainwright is all those things that he has been and still is, and he can claim that he's a doctor? Would you visit that surgery? Would you? Not a chance. Not a chance. But I tell you what, it would be fun while you were there. So there was a little bit of a flap. I'm not going to lie to you. There was a set. It's not where's Wally. It was where's McCoist. Has anybody seen McCoist? Where was he last sighted? We need McCoist. The WhatsApp was going bananas. The chat was going, but we almost sent people outside to see if he was at the door. Luckily, Alex Bruce is here. Now, Alex, it's so good to see you, my man. I think you are Mr. Whiskey. How are you?
Bruce, I am fantastic. Thank you. Really good to see you too.
And we love whiskey, and we're at that time of the evening, I think, where we need to enjoy something. Have you got a few nice things up your sleeve for us?
So we've lined up a couple of wee drams. but I've also got a little kind of homemade offering as well, if we've got time. So
we've got time, but you don't want to be with just me, do you? We need. Where is he? I mean, what can we say other than it's the McCoist factor? Hello, Alistair. Well, but what he is, he sent a message to Keith to say, as long as I don't have to press any buttons, but he's still on dial-up. He's still on dial-up. He's not on Wi-Fi. He's got the nice Gregory's on, though, that we spoke about last year. Are you there, Ali?
Wi-Fi sorted. Yes, I'm here. I need to get my Wi-Fi sorted because it's not brilliant. However, wasn't that magic watching Sean there looking $1 million? $1 million. And Rob Wainwright looking like Rob Wainwright.
Am I right in saying, Ali, that you were 2 years below Sean at university?
No. It was very, very educational. And in all seriousness, wasn't that? It was a brilliant interview. It was a brilliant interview because clearly we're here to have a little bit of fun, which we will do. However, there is a very, very serious point to this evening. And I thought those two gentlemen covered it very, very well.
Yes, well, the two of you are going to cover a very serious matter too. Very, very well, I'm hoping. Now, we know you like a glass of red. Are you a whiskey man?
Well,
I'm not sure if there's a delay on the line or if it's just McCoy's trying to decipher the question. Do you know what, Alex? I think I might just have to leave and let you get on with this. I will tell you this, boy. I will tell you this.
We can hear you, Ali, loud and clear.
Right, I'm moving.
Never work with animals, children, or Ali McCoist. That's the 3 rules of show business. Never work with animals, children, or Ali McCoist. Look at this. He's taking us to the West Wing. Look at this. Look at this.
Is this any better?
It's brilliant. Perfect.
Now listen,
you've nailed it.
I've drank, Alex, I have to inform you, I've drank whiskey once in my life, and it was my 30th birthday. And I'll give you
3 weeks ago
a rough idea of how it went. Sadly not, Bruce. I'll give you a rough idea of how it went. My mother was walking ahead of me, apologising to everybody before I reached them. So that will give you an indication of my first and only performance on whiskey, Alex.
What was your mother drinking at your 30th birthday party?
She did the sensible thing, Bruce. She had a wee brandy and ginger ale. That's what she did. God bless her. She had a wee brandy and ginger ale. But I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I have in the last maybe 2 months formed a taste, Alex, for a nice malt whiskey, and it's something I believe potentially in my latter years I might be able to enjoy with you guys. So I'm looking forward to being educated by somebody like yourself and taking part in this whiskey tasting exercise.
There you go. That is the cue for me to disappear. Gentlemen, enjoy.
Thanks, Bruce. Ali, look, you're a gentleman, and the fact that you're sitting down and there's no one walking in front of you, I think we got a good chance with this one. But look, how inspirational. You said it yourself. Just going back to what Sean was saying, even since last year, the advances which seem to be happening is so inspirational, and listening to what he's been saying is fantastic. So I think we can all raise a glass. We can all raise a glass to Doddie and to everything that's going on. But we've got.
Have we started on the whiskey yet? Can I raise any glass?
Any glass you like.
Help! I need my whiskey. Help!
That's the trouble. You move rooms and you haven't got your whiskey with you.
Correct. And I think also by the looks of things, we potentially need a little bit of light in here, don't we? Thank you. Is that any better?
That's fantastic. We can see you. Well, I took the dog out. I took the dog out just before.
I've got one question for you before we get any further, Alex. My father, as I said to you, I was never a great whiskey drinker, but my father, however, was the complete opposite. He probably drank whiskey for the United Kingdom, and he was of the school. He didn't take ice in it. However, he would take a very, very small amount of water depending on the whiskey. So was he right, or is it very much an individual thing?
Look, it's an individual thing, but if you're trying to enjoy the whiskey with the maximum flavour, and especially on the nose as well, a wee drop of water is the perfect thing to do, because what you're doing is you're opening up the flavours. There's actually a reaction taking place, and if you cup a relatively cold glass of whiskey and add water to it, you'll feel it warm up in your hands. So there is actually a reaction taking place. It gets all the taste, the flavour out there. If you do the same with ice, if you want to dilute with ice, absolutely fine, but it will completely reduce the aroma because it's chilling it too quickly. So it's really up to you. It doesn't matter what you do. Just as long as you enjoy it, that's the main thing.
Yeah, but it's an interesting one, though. It's an interesting one. From what you've said there, straight away, I would potentially, because in the last maybe 5-6 weeks I've started enjoying a whiskey, I have put, generally speaking, 1 block of ice in it, and 1 block of ice only. However, from what you've said there, I would be more encouraged to go with a small drop of water.
No, it definitely works. If you're out in a warm country, it gets reasonably warm here in the summer, but if you're out in the Med or the tropics or whatever, a lump of ice is actually a really good way of reducing it without chilling it too much, because of obviously the heat around you. But yeah, as I say, and we've got 2 whiskies here tonight just to try, but if we've got time, I was going to just show you a quick cocktail at the end as well, something that we can all make at home really, really easily, just with a bit of ice and some ingredients. But I don't know, did you get your whiskey, Ali?
Well, where are we going first of all? Are we heading to the
I thought we go to the Isle of Arran first.
Was this whiskey you're thinking of, Alex?
I think so. I'm just having a look. Yes, that's it. Isle of Arran. That's the one.
Yep.
So this is made obviously on the Isle of Arran at the Lochranza distillery. Great friends down there. They actually started distilling, I think, in December 1995. There was a wee bit of a delay because when they started building or preparing the ground, they discovered nesting golden eagles, and they had to wait for the chicks to fledge.
Wow.
So I think they actually use the golden eagle as the symbol on their whiskey bottle now. But it was 1995 they started. And this is I believe, their core, the 10-year-old, which is their core whiskey now. And it's just so good. I mean, you can use whatever kind of glass you like. I've got a kind of more Capita style. You've got a more tumbler
style. Is this
style.
acceptable?
Absolutely. Any glass is good as long as it's got whiskey in it. And first of all, the nose is so important because you get so much of it. And to me, tonight, I've had this open now for maybe 20 minutes. I'm getting a lot of lovely kind of honey, kind of heather honey, and maybe some oranges as well. It's got this sort of slightly bitter orange thing going on the nose, like a kind of Seville orange. It's really, really nice. Proper West Coast ram, this. Now, if you were tasting this, if you're going to sit down and taste this properly, I'm not tonight, I'm just enjoying it as a drink. But if I was really analysing it, I would let it sit in my mouth. I would try and let it sit in my mouth for a long time. And you want it to coat the whole palate. That's another reason we tend to use this kind of glass, because you'll see the lip on the top. It lands right in the middle of the tongue and then spreads out around the palate beautifully. But look, tonight we're enjoying ourselves. It's all about enjoying the liquid that's going down. So do you think, you mentioned earlier, you said you might be getting into whiskey. Do you think this might be a long-term project?
Alex, I have to inform you, I think there's every chance it could be a long-term project, because I started off about 6 weeks ago. Somebody very kindly bought me a lovely bottle of Glenfiddich. And what I did was, I actually took it on holiday with me. I was over in Portugal, and for I think the best part of 3 weeks, and I enjoyed it over that 3-week period. And what I would do was, late at night when I went back home, I would just sit and I'd have maybe one whiskey, and I really, really enjoyed it. And it was amazing because, and you might be right, Alex, it might have been the surroundings and indeed the heat that I felt. I put one block of ice in it, which I did do, but I really enjoyed it. And that bottle, to be fair, I don't know whether this is good or bad, I'm doing myself in or not. That bottle lasted me for the 3 weeks, but I really enjoyed it. One whiskey late at night every night. So I came back and I thought I quite enjoyed that. And then another good friend of mine bought me one of the whiskies from one of the islands, which you'll tell me about, one of the southern islands. I think it was Jura or Islay, one of the more peaty whiskies. And even for a relative newcomer like myself, I could tell a difference right away, immediately.
Did you like the peat? Did you like the smoke?
I did. But I'll be honest with you, not initially.
Yeah.
It was different.
It's so kind of tangible. We obviously, as whiskey makers and people who talk about whiskey far too much, we tend to travel quite a lot. Well, we used to when we were allowed to. And it's really interesting seeing how different tastes around the world react to the big peat smoke of Islay, of the West Coast in particular. Yeah. And it was something that when we had built our own distillery up on the peninsula of Ardnamurchan, up in the northwest, it was something that I wanted to bring into our whiskey, but not fully blown like a kind of Islay style, more of a kind of Highland, softer peat. And you might just see the difference between the Arran, which is unpeated, and then the Ardnamurchan, which is the second one. If you manage to get it, it has this kind of peaty salinity. So that's the one. Well done.
Yes. Yep.
Fantastic. But
I think you'll find, Alex, I'm not excellent at a lot of things, Alex. However, preparation for alcohol, I'm an Olympic medalist at, to be honest with you. You'll fairly see me off the podium in terms of preparation for alcohol.
No, you've done well, because I know there was a panic call yesterday trying to find these whiskies. So I take my hat off to you.
Well, we made it. Thank you.
Fantastic. So immediately on the nose, the Arran had that honey sweetness, the honey and orange. This has also got a wee bit of honey and orange, but it's gone much more kind of salty seaside, and you do get the peat smoke as well. It's like a kind of distant bonfire.
Where is that particular distillery?
Alex, so this is our distillery.
The one you...
This is the one we built. We started producing there in 2014, and it's a tiny little remote part of Scotland called Ardnamurchan. So it's kind of the long peninsula that sticks out. It's just above Mull and just below Skye, and it's very, very remote.
Beautiful.
We have about an hour and a half of single track road to get there, so it's worth the effort.
Wow. I should probably be saving this conversation, Alex, for when we're off here. However, we'll be visiting you soon.
please come up. You can join the Rogues Wall with Wainwright and Ian Botham.
Absolutely. Now, may I say, the first thing I would say, in my totally uneducated opinion and view, that seems a lot smoother. Is that fair, or is that just a personal choice?
It's everything's a personal choice at the end of the day. The actual how you translate the word smooth in whiskey is very difficult. But to me, I think the peat smoke coming in at the end is giving it an extra dimension, or a different dimension. There are times where I prefer not to have it, and I'd be more in the kind of honey orangey side of Aaron. But there are also times that I want to have it, and it's so special to get that kind of West Coast taste. It really is. It's like you're there. It's like you've got the sea roaring in front of you, and it just makes you feel like home. Basically.
Well, I have to tell you, Alex, I'm an unbelievable West Coast man, because my father was from a little place called Clachan, which is down the West Coast towards Campbellton, and we're very lucky. We've got a little place also in Lochfine. However, I do a lot of walking and kind of fishing up in Sutherland, up and down that West Coast, right at the top as well. And without wanting, and would I dare do this without wanting to upset our Eastern friends and indeed our Borders friends, because I know we're all united in this cause. However, Alex, there is no place like the West Coast of Scotland for beauty, and I'm finding out whiskey also.
Fantastic. Well, look, I'm absolutely delighted you're liking it, Ali. And look, I don't know if we've got time, but I'm just going to show you a really quick cheat to make a longer drink. So
we are keen for a cocktail, Alex. Come on, spice us up a little bit.
My ice has been melting as we've been speaking. But look, a bit of ice. This is really, really very simple way of doing it. I'm going to put a wee dash of the old Arden American. Now you're looking for this. You're looking about 2 whiskies to 1. So that's about 2 whiskies. And very simply,
not where I come from, Alex. I think you'll find you've got a bit to go, mate.
It's a tall glass, Ali. It's a very tall glass. So I've got a wee bit of vermouth, but the sweet one, the red one in this case, and it's 1.
Yeah.
So that's about 1. And then pièce de la résistance. We have some orange bitters. And I've been reliably informed it's 3 drops. Now, I don't know what consistency the rest of it was in. I'm going to give it 3 drops. 1, 2, 3. Well, that's 4. And then a nice large tropical spoon. Now, I think if you're doing this properly, you should be doing it over ice and then straining it and all the rest of it. But hey ho. And this is a Rob Roy, I believe.
Well, we're going to have to take your word for it, Alex.
And with Bernstein
I'm not convinced McCoist has that one that he made earlier.
With Bernstein coming up. Yeah.
Carry on, Alex, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, with Bernstein coming up, Ali, if you were to split the vermouth with a bit of Benedictine, that will give you what the Americans like to refer as a Bobby Burns.
Bobby Burns. Ali McCoist had Bobby Burns before, I think.
There's a line there somewhere, Bruce, and I've got it in there. But you are so pleased. I'm too well mannered to give you. Okay, I've had a few.
You've been exceptional tonight. Have you been warned before you've come in here?
Do you know something, Bruce?
I do like it when you go, Ramsey Nesbitt. I will tell you this. I will tell you this, boy.
Well, I'm going to tell you. We had the curry tonight, and it was fantastic. And unlike Vipond and Nairn, we had our kitchen fire-free. I mean, what a performance that was. I
You
was waiting
you
for
are
Steve
not
McQueen
kidding
coming
me
in.
on that you made that. Your staff have prepared that for you, McCoist. Not
No.
a chance you lifted a finger.
Bruce, I give the staff the weekend off, right? Viv and I did it. I gave the staff the weekend off. Viv and I prepared the whole thing meticulously, right? And I was watching Vipond and Nairn, and the whole thing was missing. I was waiting for Steve McQueen coming in. It looked like an episode of that, honestly, Towering Inferno, right? And then I see Vipond with a blowtorch, right? Which was ridiculous. And then to beat that, there he is. Who in their right mind handed you a blowtorch after you set the kitchen on fire? And by the way, while I'm on it,
I've got two. That'll be me. Oh, you dirty, stinky. Oh,
that's my dog. It's my dog, wasn't me?
Oh, that's you.
Welcome to Smell-O-Vision.
Listen, and while I'm on it, lads, before I get
Hashtag
started,
Shelley. Hashtag. What the
that's wicked.
Hang on a second.
before I get any further,
Hashtag
guys,
Rican.
listen, what about Ricky Ross's hairdo? What's happened there?
What?
Serious? What about that hairdo? He's only 5'10". He's got a hairdo like Tintin. He looked about 6'3" when I was watching him. What's happened to that Barnett?
Ladies and gentlemen, Ali McCoist has now arrived. Whoever that imposter was that was in before, that was speaking proper and on his best behaviour, has left the building.
What was that with your posh voice?
Vipod's messaging me going, why is he speaking so posh? Why is he speaking so posh?
Next, Dougie, I've got to tell you the truth, lads. The curry was magnificent. Honestly,
fantastic.
We really enjoyed it. My mate Jeff came up and we've had it. The three of us have had it. It's been brilliant. Really enjoyed it.
Anybody would think Nick Nairn's done it before, and we're not getting into what Jeff's doing in your house, McCoist. We're not getting into that one on a Saturday night after a Ruby Murray and a bit of whiskey. Gentlemen, we have got to get going. It has been an absolute joy. McCoist, do not go anywhere because you could well be back. Dougie, Nick, that hair's going. We have got some bids in. You are in serious baller tonight, big fella. Alex Bruce, you deserve a bloody medal. I can't believe you came back after last year. If you come back for Doddie Aid 3, Alex, I will be shocked and stunned because you are going to be drunk out of whiskey. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Bin them. Get them off. Get them off.
Thank you.
Get them off the screen.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Alex.
gentlemen. We love you a bit. We absolutely love you.
Thank you very much.
You have been entertained by some cracking double acts. How good are they? What was McCoist up to? Unreal. But here, it's now time for some music. And if you're going to listen to music and you're going to be entertained on Doddie Aid, you're expecting the best. Both got MBEs, but it's getting to the point now that I don't think you can get on this show without having some kind of title. It's not even Hogmanay, and we are going to treat you to the magnificent Ali Bain and Phil Cunningham. You gotta love it when it gets quick. You gotta love it. The toe is tapping. That was absolutely brilliant. 2 more legends to add to your list of people that have entertained you tonight, and we've got more coming right up. A wee special mention. It was nice to see a message on the screen there from Belinda Roberts, who does a huge amount to support the My Name is Doddie Foundation through her organisation, We Do Scotland. Her old man was an MND warrior, and brilliant to see Belinda tuning in tonight. So what more can we do? What more's going on? Doddie Aid is only halfway done. We've got heaps to go, and we've got 2 men who are going to join us now who are right at the very forefront. They put huge amounts of time and energy into this, and they get results. You know him as Nashi. I saw him 24 hours ago. He's getting sick of the sight of me. And speaking of people, mad as box of frogs, to add to the list of people like Rob Wainwright and Ali McCoist, Mark Beaumont, he is going to get us around the world. Let's see them. Hello, Nashi.
Good evening. How are you, Bruce?
Yeah, good. Good to see you again. Twice in 2 days. Hello, Mark.
Hey, Brucey. Doing an amazing job.
You look spectacular. You look so good.
Well, that's very kind. I mean, you've been doling out the compliments this evening.
He just looks like Bruce. He just looks like adventure. Does he not?
Oh, there you go. I tell you what, there is the scent. There is the scent. Mark Beaumont, adventure. I love it.
Bruce, where are we going with this? Is it the whiskey?
No, I'm on H2O and Genius, my friend. So this is just my own nonsense, unfortunately. Can you imagine what my wife has to put up with?
But what about
phenomenal pile of nonsense? We've been loving it all evening, Bruce.
When whiskey touches the lips of Ali McCoist, it was a different conversation, wasn't it?
Yeah, he changed from Alistair to Super Ali. Gentlemen, I'm gonna get out your hair. I'm gonna get out your hair.
Normally it's 20 minutes, isn't it? Change your behaviour, 20 minutes with a bit of alcohol, but with Ali McCoist, it was about 30 seconds.
Well, wait for it, because here he comes, because you've got to put up with him now. I am away for a lie down. Boys, great to see you. You are off your chumps, but it is good that you're motivating others to do exactly the same. Enjoy.
Thanks, Bruce. Mark, great to see you. You've been doing so much throughout Doddie Aid, but this morning, take us to this morning, Arthur's Seat, and then the squad, they headed out to North Berwick, and I caught up with them at Steampunk. How was the environment this morning, everything that was going on, and just the way the community of Doddie Aid's coming together?
Well, the amazing thing about events like this morning is when you can actually get people to team up. So much of Doddie Aid, the strength of it is the fact that you can be out on your own or with your family or with your friends clocking your miles. It can be virtual and the banter happens on social media. But when there is a call to arms and you can get together with your pals for a walk or a cycle or whatever your poison is in terms of activity, it just brings out the banter, it brings out the stories. And last Saturday, we did a group ride around Arthur's Seat. And then this morning, some riders headed out through East Lothian as well. And what I love about it is, we've all got different reasons to be involved. This morning, I heard some news stories, people who had family connections, reasons to really sort of fight and raise money and raise awareness for research and care for those who have motor neuron disease. I was hearing about a hairdresser down in Leith who, you know, gives a portion of profits every year from the salon, plus all the coffee money, and just little ways year on year and year. And he's been doing that for 15 years. And then he was talking about how the fact that, of course, Doddie and the work of the foundation over the last 5 years has just transformed how the public see this cruel disease. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing like riding along on a bicycle, hearing stories of people next to you and why they're motivated to make a difference. So I mean, I applaud everyone out there clocking their miles, but if you can get together and buddy up with people, it's great fun.
Absolutely, but a shout out especially 14-year-old Caleb McLeod. He cycled from Edinburgh to North Berwick. I met him, his dad, his mum, the whole family were there in North Berwick. I think his mum was quite relieved that he made it there safe and sound. But that's what we've seen, a lot of kids getting involved. We've seen all ages getting involved. And Caleb's story especially, very inspiring. At that young age, he loves his rugby, loves his cycling, and he wanted to be there, led by Davy Zyw, all the way to North Berwick. To see them and to see the energy that rolled into town this morning was just fantastic. And that takes us to next week. That's why we're here just now to talk about World in a Day, your crazy event that kicked off last year that was incredible. And the chance that I was given to host it throughout the day and speak to such amazing people. Tell us about what we should expect next week, Saturday the 29th, as you lead us around the world.
So, I mean, there's obviously, whatever your activity, there's something for you this month. It was the swimmers earlier in the month, and then Jenny Faulkner had a big focus with the runners. At the end of the month, we've got World in a Day, Saturday the 29th, a week from now. And the concept is incredibly simple. We all jump on a virtual peloton. It all happens on Zoom. And you're on your turbo trainers. So you're in your garage or you're in your kitchen and you're pedaling hard but going nowhere. And the idea is, as a collective, as a virtual peloton, how many times can we go around the world? It's 18,000 miles to pedal around planet Earth. I can tell you that from personal experience. And it's the gold standard. The gold standard for the nutters out there is to try and do 1 day of the circumnavigation world record, which is a mighty 240 miles. And whilst that's hard on the road, it's even harder indoors. Now, this is not just for people who want to go silly miles. You could do 10 miles, you could do 50 miles, you can do whatever you want, but, you know, make it hard, make it a challenge. And you might think, well, that sounds awfully lonely and just a bit of a slog. But trust me, the event, the actual entertainment, you're distracted from the pedaling by the fact that all day long, you've got people dropping in, inspiring, informing, sharing great information. I mean, it's not just people who are sort of the day-to-day faces of Doddie Aid. Of course, they'll be there, we'll be there sharing ideas and keeping you going. But we've got Sir Steve Redgrave, we've got Dame Catherine Granger, we've got Sir Chris Hoy, Jason Fox, JJ Chalmers, to name a few. And last year we ran World in a Day, and it was just so much fun. It was absolutely brilliant. And so many of the riders surprised themselves by signing up for 25 miles, enjoying the chat and the entertainment so much that they did double that and so on. I felt I gave you a hospital pass last year, Nashi, by saying, would you mind hosting it? And you seem to revel in the role, and you've really sort of taken it this year to another level and signed up a lot of these amazing guests. So if you're a bike rider out there, if you've got a peloton, a watt bike, a turbo trainer, a spin bike, anything that you can sit on and turn your legs on, just go to worldinaday.com, register, and then you get the Zoom link and all the information, and you'll get that lineup of amazing guests.
Absolutely. And Mark, the way you describe it, it's true. I'm not pedaling, I'm presenting and hosting while we do it. So there's a bit of guilt in me, but the inspiration that I get watching you guys when you're head down listening to conversations, and every now and again I'm going to say, Mark, are you still with us? You raise your head, and then there's an interesting conversation between you and Sir Chris Hoy that will probably happen next Saturday, and all these inspirational characters that anyone that joins the ride and joins the link that's on the call while we're recording and going out live can potentially have a chat with real inspirational people. And to go back, just to quickly go back to Caleb, he's a diehard rugby fan, so I let him know that Stuart Hogg will be on early in the morning. Now, there's a real chance that he might be able to have a quick chat with Stuart Hogg while he's on the bike putting his miles in. That's an event that we want tons of people to be involved in.
Yeah, so we kick things off. We open the link at 6 a.m. and we keep it going until 8 p.m. So it's a full day event, and you can imagine. There you go, the graveyard shift. We put the link live at 5:55 a.m. The morning miles, but you keep going. I mean, these breaks are simply because we have to call a break at certain points on the YouTube link when it's being streamed live and on Facebook. But the actual event, we keep going. There's no stop. Obviously, you can get off as much or as little as you want. Last year, quite often people came and did a stint in the morning, and then they had to go off and take the kids to the swimming pool, or they had to do chores during the day, and then they came back and rode some miles later on. And as you said, Nashi, if you're lucky enough to hear some of these amazing speakers, they have wonderful stories to share, but you're never ever going to get the chance to actually sort of ride along with them, having a conversation as if you were on a bike with them. It's not like you're just sort of watching this amazing conference of people sharing their stories. It's a conversation like you're riding along, and hence the power of the virtual peloton. And there's some names which are not superstars or knighted. There's who have we got? We've got Alan Murkison coming on first thing in the morning. Yeah. Alan Murkison's a buddy of mine, Michelin-starred chef, top flight chef who now supports a lot of pro cycling teams. So first thing in the morning, how about a bit of advice in terms of how to fuel for 12, 14 hours on the bike for those that are going the whole hog? I'm looking at some of the messages coming in whilst we're chatting here, and a couple of people going for the magic 240 are already commenting there. But don't be intimidated by the scale of a 14-hour event. As I say, if 1 hour is enough for you, you could just keep the Zoom link going and come back for guests that you want to hear from later in the day. Like the curry night, it's as much about the entertainment, it's as much about feeling a sense of community, being involved. We'll have people coming on sharing information about what's happening in terms of MND research. Oh, there's Stephen Smith, another keen cyclist up in Dundee there. He's going to be, I don't know what top blow means, but he's a phenomenal supporter. He came down to Edinburgh, did our Doddie ride last week, and there we go. Somebody, Darren Heath, saying that this will be his third World in a Day. We've run this event quite a few times now, and I don't know why I keep doing it. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's because it's such a great event. It's such a great event that brings incredible people together, and I'm going to bring another couple of people back onto this conversation. Let's get Ali McCoist and Dougie Vipond back involved, because Ali, you were involved in World of the Day. You told unbelievable stories. You made us laugh. You went away, I think, to commentate on a football match, and then you were back at the night shift. You remember it last year? What a day!
I remember it well. It scarred me for 365 days, Nashi. However,
your bum's not recovered.
I have to say, in all seriousness, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. That fella, MB there, top right-hand side of my screen, what these guys do is unbelievable. I came on first thing in the morning, did, I think, 45 minutes, then came back on at night, and it was brilliant. And I think what Mark said, the important thing is, and it is the most important thing, clearly, it doesn't matter how long you do. It's just take part and see what you can achieve and see what you can raise. That is by far and away the most important thing. And I can exclusively reveal, Mark, I'm back next Saturday on my peloton, right? Dougie,
have you got
it's
peloton?
amazing. And I need to get rid of this curry you served me up tonight, Dougie.
You all heard it.
Alice. So you've got your peloton. Have you got some lycra?
No. I think, Mark, I think it's safe to say, without divulging too much information, my lycra days have gone. They've gone. The history. Right? I would not do that to the Peloton Nation.
Mark, before time runs out, give us a bit of a heads up to the Doddie Cup 500 as well. You're taking on 500 miles from Murrayfield to Cardiff.
Yeah,
give us that story and how that's going to look with the team that you've got going down there.
Well, this is how it all sort of kicked off. What we're going back 4 or 5 years ago. Rob Wainwright phoned me up and said, "Do you fancy riding to Twickenham for the Calcutta Cup, carrying the match ball down?" And I said, "Well, what could possibly go wrong? Start of February." So this year we're going down to the Doddie Cup, down to the Wales game, and they don't make it easy. We're doing it over a couple of days, dropping in on rugby clubs who normally open their doors, look after us. It's an amazing event where there's a core group of us riding the whole hog, so 500 odd miles in 2 days, and then there's a bunch of other teams getting involved riding relays. So it's going to be quite a finishing party, and it's hopefully going to end up with a triumph down in Cardiff. But ultimately, it all started with this massive ride back in 2019. And then the thought was, well, that's all very well for the mad cyclists who are up for going 500 miles, but how do we involve everyone? How do we make this something which anyone, walking their dog or going for a swim can take part in? So that's sort of the acorn of the idea behind Doddie Aid remains this mad ride to one of the Scotland games. But that's how it all finishes off at the start of February. And I would say I'm looking forward to it, but let's just hope it doesn't snow.
I've got to say, if I could come in, that would be a remarkable achievement, taking the rugby ball all the way down from Murrayfield to Twickenham. Considering the last time I was there at the South Africa game, we struggled to get it over 15 metres, right? So I'm wishing the boys all the best in that.
Actually, and as well, I'm getting involved in. I'm part of the team as well. I've got a team of 4 people, and we're actually going to take part in the Doddie Cup ride as well. And if I'm able to get my cadence sorted out, I will take part in World in the Day as well and go on and do a couple of miles, because it's such a fantastic thing. But the most important thing is obviously the kind of World in the Day is a brilliant thing, and the Doddie Cup 500 thing is an amazing thing. But we need to have people to support us. Tonight's been an amazing night, and it's pretty much free, entirely free, apart from buying your own food and bringing your own beer. But we need people to support it. We need people at home to get involved and to go and sponsor Mark and go and sponsor Rob, because Rob Wainwright's riding the whole way as well. And we have to raise as much money as we possibly can, because there's no point in us riding all the way down to Wales with a match ball if we're not making, absolutely raising a wheel of money. So, you can go on to the Just Giving pages. And I don't normally kind of beg for this kind of thing, but it's really important that, after a brilliant night like tonight, that, we've still got a few weeks of Doddie Aid left. We raised well over £1 million last year. We want to do much better than that this year. So we need people to go on to the Just Giving page and to pledge and to get as much money as we possibly can, especially for the World in the Day if you're going to take part yourself, but for the Doddie Cup guys who are doing it, to Mark and Rob who are doing it all the way, and for other teams as well who are doing it in relays. I'm going to do 125 miles over 2 days, and for me, that's going to be a mountain to climb for me, and it's going to be nothing compared to what Mark's doing, but it's going to be a pretty big deal for me. But I'm looking forward to it.
I look forward to it. That'll be amazing. And I would say for those taking part next week, and we've already got about 250 riders, and about half of them, believe it or not, are planning to do the full 240. I mean, I'll need to figure out how many times that would get us around the world, at least 2 or 3 times. But most people next week taking part are pledging to try and basically, match their miles. So if you're doing a 100 miler, raise 100 quid, you can figure it out from there. But whether you're donating it yourself or going out and fundraising it, it's just such a powerful mechanism. And then for the big ride down to Wales, well, it's I don't care who you are, doing 500 miles in a couple of days is a hard slog. So thank you for everyone who has already made a massive difference to the fundraising.
Can I ask you a question, guys? Mark, if I may, excuse me, what time scale is the cycle from Murrayfield to I was going to say Cardiff Arms Park? Was going to show me age there?
2 days.
Yeah,
2 days.
2 days. Wow.
So we don't really sleep much. I remember the first time we did it, it was that amazing Scotland-England game, the Calcutta Cup, where we were miles behind, and then there was the triumphant comeback to the draw. Do you remember it?
Yeah.
And, I was nearly falling asleep at half-time for obvious reasons, and then the second half was just one that we'll remember for the rest of our days. So let's hope the Wales game is something similar. And now that, of course, it's called the Doddie Cup, it's all the more significant. And I should say the Welsh Rugby Union have rolled out the red carpet. They've been so kind to everyone involved in the foundation. So thank you so much.
Mark, just before Bruce comes back on, Dougie was mentioning earlier that he's never had an invitation to call. Now, it's a place you've been. What is life like on call with Mr. Wainwright?
Life on call is pretty mad. When I was doing some filming there a few years ago, and I landed on the runway, it was a short hop from Tyree, which is literally a stone's throw away. I landed, and his kids met me at the end of the runway on their bicycles by the little hut. And I said, "Where's Rob?" And they said, "He's in the fire truck." So he was. So for us to land, Rob had to then drive the fire truck back, get out, and he had his Lycra on underneath. And he said, right, let's go for a ride. So he's also the local fireman. And then before we'd even warmed up, he said, right, do you see that road from the fire station down to the crossroads there? He said, that's a Strava segment. I was like, oh, crikey, Rob, we've not even warmed up. So we had this ridiculous race from the off, and then he spent the afternoon showing me around. But jumping off cliffs, running around the place, exploring home, it's mad. Life on call is beautiful, but Rob is just the heart and soul, as we all know. And if you're ever on the West Coast, I can see why he ended up calling it home, because it's that Islander life. It's a wonderful welcome. And actually, I should say, Alex Bruce did a brilliant job there with you, Ali McCoist, on the whiskies. When I was doing some filming with Rob last year, he welcomed us with open arms at the Ardnamurchan distillery. And it's just a stunning part of the world. If you've got no idea where we're talking about, then book your summer holidays, because it's just staggering.
There was a call in there from a Morven McKenzie that's suggesting a music festival on call. How about the Snoods all pile into Edinburgh Castle this summer, Dougie? we get the Snoods round for a Deacon Blue concert. That would be a good night out, Ali.
I'm just thinking, actually, he's the fireman in call, he's a doctor in call, he's as well as the lead singer of the group in call, right? He's got the whole thing covered, doesn't he?
You're in for a bit of a treat, Dougie, when you get up there. When you get to call eventually, you're in for a treat, I think.
Yeah, when I go in Nick Nairn's suitcase, because he's not invited me, he's invited Nick, but if I go along in Nick Nairn's suitcase, I'll be fine when I come out, and he can show me where the fire truck is. But no, I look forward to it. Everything that Rob gets involved in, it's always a hoot, and he always comes at things with such enthusiasm, and you always have a good laugh as well. So I look forward to the day finally when I get up there.
Dougie Vipond, we need to get these fiddlers back on to play you a wee violin tune. Great in a book call. Well, here's some news from this week. Rob Wainwright is the doctor, the fireman. This week he was doing his Coast Guard training. So he is also the Coast Guard. Does that not just scare the living daylights out of you? The lunatic is running the asylum.
Yeah, don't take your windsurfer up to call. I say don't lose your way in Tyree, and when you're on your windsurfer and you're relying on Wainwright to save you. Holy moly, man!
Frightening stuff. Nashi, it's always a pleasure. You're an absolute star. McCoist, calm yourself.
What's that, Coisty?
Okay,
carry on.
I'll tell you what it tells me. If he's a Coast Guard, right? He's a fireman. With the planes coming in, I think I'm going to have to tunnel into there to be safe. Right?
It makes a change for you tunneling out of places, McCoy.
Not bad, Bruce.
Yeah, I've seen Escape to Victory. I know what you had to do to get out of Celtic Park alive, my friend. I know what you had to do. Nashi, always a pleasure. Brilliant to see you. Thank you for all you're doing. Next week's going to be absolutely off the hook. Mark Beaumont, you are just magnificent. You are a whole bundle of inspiration. Thank you so much for all you're doing. Vipond, you are Lego. You fit everywhere, my boy. You fit everywhere. And Ali McCoist, what can I say about you that hasn't been said before? You were Celtic's finest ever striker. Cheers, gentlemen.
Thanks, Bruce.
See you, boys.
Class. How much class and inspiration can you get on the screen at once? You've had it all. Speaking of class and inspiration on the screen, let's see what you lot have been up to. You have engaged brilliantly. Now, this man here, Martin Johnson, is an outstanding human, does so much and has engaged. And I know that last Doddie Aid gave him lots of motivation and inspiration. And it is so good to see Martin with us tonight. Martin and his family are doing so much. Martin's also an MND sufferer, and he is right behind us. Thank you, Martin. Great to see you. Leona and Davy, the best curry I've ever had, says Davy. I think you're a creep, Davy. I think Leona has produced that for you, and you've decided, yes, here's my end. So, Leona and Davy, you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Iona, we've got lots of Ionas. Look at that. That's a lot of chicken. Or is it Sparrow? I wonder where she's from. I wonder where Iona Sam is from. Looking good. Dave Simpson, that is presentation. That is presentation from Dave. One of the Northern Midlands. I'm surprised he's not made a comment about them being in first place, because it's hard to get anything out of them without them bragging. Linda Henry, look, 3 courses. Look at the prawns. There's no cucumber in there. Vipond will be round shortly. Linda hates a cucumber. There's Leona Junior buffing on Twitter for Hoik. No sign of food. They'll have been for a chippy, I think. Ailsa McAleer. I've never heard that before. Ailsa, that is looking very nice, and lots of Doddie going on there. T-shirt and the snood. Thank you very much for joining us, folks. And Ian Fraser, never ever in doubt. Ian has been mentioned already. He is Rob Wainwright's partner in crime. Another man who is barking mad, and he's starting him early with a bottle of whiskey. Look at that. Open it for me, Daddy. Open it for me. I don't think there's any doubt that Ian will have been tucking into that. That bottle has probably just been opened tonight. Keep going. Please use the hashtag Doddie Aid. We've produced a few hashtags tonight. I like the one, blame it on the Doug. I think that's my favourite one now. Last year I commented that we needed Doddie Fest. And I thought that by this time in life we'd be out of this nonsense and we'd all be able to be together. But we're still not there yet. So let's hope that instead of this nonsense, next year, Doddie Aid 3, we're going to finish with Doddie Fest. We're going to tunnel into Call. Wainwright's going to meet us and the Bairns are going to be on the bike, and we're going to put up a big marquee and we're going to have a right good knees up. We'll get the music on. Deacon Blue will play. We'll have our snoods. We'll have our midget repellent, and we'll have a right good time on the Cobra and the Genius and the whiskies. It has been a joy, hasn't it? I have loved being part of this. I feel very honoured. But who's the star of the show? Of course, it's Doddie Weir. Is he there with us? Is he still awake? Hello, Dodge.
Bruce, yeah. Yes. I got the words in. I get my dad later on. But what a show.
What a show.
Rob Wainwright, unbelievable. The support that people have given Doddie is really amazing. I did like one comment that we should have been on the Hog Monday. I do agree with that. I was watching the BBC telly and it was not that good. Tonight has been excellent. Well done to all the colour and never performance have been outstanding. I've loved every minute of it.
Everybody, well, Hogmanay's taken a nosedive since Jackie Bird retired, but I think I should be stepping into her shoes. Can you put in a word for me with the BBC?
I'm saying well done, everybody. You've done
Thanks, Kathy.
Stupendous job. Stupendous.
Hey, Kathy, come on. When do you get your MBE?
An MBE, is that all I'm going to get?
I would give you an Olympic gold. I'd give you everything we've got, Kathy. You're an absolute superstar.
Cheers, you've all been great. Drink to it. Well done.
Thank you very, very much. Dodge, lovely to see you. Stay strong, my friend, and I hopefully will see you next week for that flag. But we'll not let that cat out of the bag yet.
Bruce, you've been amazing. Everyone, thank you so much. Rob Wainwright, thank you. I look forward to seeing you on your live. To everyone else, thank you for your support. We'll point of view.
Thanks, Dodge. Brilliant to see you. Thank you, my man. How good. That's why we're doing it. And you've probably heard my Doddie stories before. He's why I'm here. He gave me so much confidence, so much belief. He opened doors for me and I charged right through them. And I am very, very grateful to that man for everything that he has done. So put your hand in your pocket, get out for a walk, a run, a row, a cycle. I don't care what you do, but get involved. tell your pals, and let's find a cure for this thing so that we can move on and we'll go and solve something else on this planet. So we've heard from Dodge. Let's bring in Rob Wainwright, the man at the top of the tree. How proud are you of tonight's events, Rob?
Well, I was very worried in the week leading up to this that we wouldn't compete with last year, but that was fantastic and had all the same magic ingredients were there. Doddie, McCoist as ever at his very best, and Dougie and Nick and Mark, Nashi, so many inspirational people. I don't know how we're going to fit them all in the house when we do it from here next year, but it looks like we've got everyone needing to come up. Alex Bruce, he's a very important man to have involved because he owns a distillery. Well, he runs a distillery. Whether he owns it, I'm not sure. It doesn't matter, but
he claims he built it as well.
I have to say, Doddie and I have got a cask in there, so we're very attached to it. I know we started at A. That's just why Aaron and Ardnamurchan came up this year, and we're working our way to Z. But it was we have the investment in Ardnamurchan Distillery, and it's a hell of a good dram. It's only a 5-year-old dram, and having seen the state McCoist was by the end of it, it's a pretty strong dram as well, isn't it?
It was a different alley. It was a different alley. Now, if the tourism board on Call can't handle it, maybe we could go to Castle McCoist and he could house us. We could have Team South in the West Wing. We could have Edinburgh. Let's face it, there's nobody for Glasgow, so they can be in a tent in the garden because there's no bugger in Team Glasgow. Barbarians, we could put them in the loft. He must be able to accommodate us all, McCoist.
It's a great idea. There's one fatal flaw. We'd all be there, but he might not be.
It sounds like he might have to go down the road and return the favour at Jeff's house. I'm still intrigued what Jeff's up to while Ali's on the screen.
I don't know, but he's really pulled his finger out this week, and I sent him a slightly. I'm embarrassed to say a slightly terse email saying, "What's going on? Come on!" And I was a bit headmaster with him, and I feel very embarrassed. I'm sorry, Ali. You're probably listening, and I'm really sorry but you've really pulled it out. And thank you so much for coming on board, because you always add a huge amount, particularly in terms of the graphic quality of the screen that you produce. I mean, the Wi-Fi must be worse than on the Isle of Call in Bridge of Winter,
I wouldn't worry about the email you sent him because he'll know I've read it. So did he apologise? I'm not convinced his assistant will have passed that one on. They'll have dealt with that themselves. He doesn't deal with his own emails.
What you fail to realise, Bruce, is there is no assistant, and that is why the issue stands. His social media is run by a saint called Welshie, who I have to deal with it for 2 months a year. Welshie lives with this, and God, he's sent us some priceless lines over the last 2 months. But Coisty's pulled the finger out. He's here tonight. He's weaved his magic as ever, and he's going to get on his bike next weekend. And I'm just waiting to push him on joining us for the beginning of the 500, leaving Murrayfield, and he doesn't have to wear lycra if he doesn't want to. If it's not for the public benefit, he can wear whatever he wants.
I think the cycle jersey should be getting him some lycra. We need to see Coisty and My Name is Doddie Foundation lycra. Now, you mentioned the 500 mile. Now, you couldn't be with us on Wednesday night for a live show because you were doing your Coast Guard training. But I was talking about Duncan Hodge, because Hodgie is in one of the teams that is going on the 500 miles, and he's a bit worried about how to get his bike home. Did nobody think of that logistical bit?
Well, everyone goes down on their bikes with a support vehicle, and then when they get there, they have to find the energy for a few drinks in Cardiff, watch the Welsh getting humped, and then they stay the night. Some of them will stay the night in their support vehicle, and then they all get in the support vehicle and they drive north again. So it is really good, because earlier on in the show, I said I'd had a couple of messages and I couldn't remember what they were. You've reminded me. It's someone who says they will get Hodgie's bike back up from Cardiff. is the other email that I've lost that I've got to respond to. So
And that'll be off the back of the live show on Wednesday. See, we're also a public service. That is what happens. Now, Rob, we need to let these people get chips and go home after their curry. You must have some people that we need to say thank you to.
Well, obviously, the first person to say thank you to is yourself, Bruce. I know that it's just a stepping stone to the Hogmanay show, and it won't be long before you get it. But you've been such a star. You've been, obviously, I met you initially with Doddie in the Thistle Suite, I think. And you've been his sidekick, and now you've taken over his gigs, and you're doing such a great job. And Happiness is Egg-Shaped, such an apt name for your act. But you've been superb, and I'm pushing, and I'm sure Vipond and all the BBC guys will be pushing for a Hogmanay slot for you. But
I'm in.
Exactly. There's in front of the camera, then behind the camera, we've got Keith Easton, who's done an amazing job. There's a slight complaint from my boys that he hasn't published any of the texts or messages that they've sent him. Every time certain people come up, we've had 8 or 9 messages posted up on the screen. There's a lot of swearing going on from the boys. So Keith, note that for next year. And
Keith's going to pass the buck to his brother because it's Graham that's doing the social media. So Keith is currently saying it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Well, Graham and there's someone else who's I've such a terrible memory these days. There's a lady there as well. Who's she?
Caroline.
Thank you very much.
Caroline,
Stewart and Keith, who've held it all together and done an amazing job. They've managed to get McCoist on the screen, which is a genius thing in itself. And thank you to Genius. What a great link there. Genius Beer and Genius Beer being a bit more generous than Cobra.
Also available in bottles now.
Exactly. I have to say that Brewdog are sponsoring the Doddie Cup 500 to the tune of quite a lot of money. So good on Brewdog. I know they're under a wee bit of stick at the moment. So we're fighting their corner. So and how strong was the really strong beer they did again? I actually missed. Was it 37% proof or something like that?
No, that's the one they were. I think they just make it up to sensationalize it, Rob. Let's face it. The only beer we need is 3%. That's Genius.
I know. I am definitely a 3%. I know some people in Glasgow. We have a number on the island here that are slightly offended that they're only getting 3% alcohol in their beer, and they say, "Why would we pay money for that?" And I'm saying because the night lasts longer. It's a session beer. So, but you can waste your time.
It's a session beer. I love it, and it's got fewer calories than an apple.
Exactly, I think. And well, let's not argue which is healthier. So there's more sugar in an apple. So, great. Well, thank you, everyone, and thank everyone who's taking part tonight and who is watching. Obviously, we've got a really loyal contingent out there watching, and I hope we've got a lot of new people as well. But it's been a great night as well, and it's how did we beat last year? Well, we just did it. It was fantastic.
We just did it. And I'm going to get you just to say a thank you, Rob, because one of the WhatsApp groups I'm in is the one with all the people who take care of the social media for the teams. Morven for North and Midlands, Sean for the Barbarians, Rory for Glasgow, Richard for Edinburgh. They deserve a huge amount of credit for the time and energy they're putting into this, don't they?
They do. And I was limiting my thanks to this show because where would I stop with the thanks elsewhere? But undoubtedly, the 4 of them have done such an amazing job in whipping up support, and it's not always fun. It's sometimes there's issues. Last year it was snoods. This year it was app issues. I think last year it was app issues too, actually. Morven's dealt with them all, but it's great that Richard, Rory have come in to help. Richard, Rory, who am I missing there? Richard, Rory, you.
Yeah, we're for. Oh, are we cutting this here? Vipond, where's the clipper?
No,
where's the clippers?
Bruce.
I reckon we get Rob to do it with the sheep.
Yeah,
blue torch it.
Dougie will have to watch it on a live stream because he's not been invited to call to watch it live. So
I'll be in here in my kitchen, and I'll stay here on my
Rob,
with my genius beer and watch you all and call have an amazing time next year.
Farmers.
I'm not be using CcCoist's Wi-Fi to broadcast from anyway. He's in Glasgow, or close to Glasgow, the closest part to civilization of all of us, possibly. And his Wi-Fi is the worst of the lot. It's extraordinary. But I also want to say, I think, thank you to you, Bruce, and thank you to you, Rob, because you know what an extraordinary evening. It's been absolutely brilliant. The support we've had from everybody has been amazing. And I know you guys are about to finish off this evening. We also want to say thanks to Fiona and to Julia as well, because I know you probably noticed that we had some other cameras going on there. They kept crashing, and they were like, we were on the phone and trying to sort it out whilst the shots were being held and all that. So behind the scenes, all the carnage with the chili and all that kind of stuff was being held together by Fiona and Julia behind the cameras there. So thanks to them, but thanks to you guys. This has been a truly fantastic night. I didn't think we would be able to top last year either.
Nope,
we truly have done.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, right, this is about Doddie, and this is about MND, and the fact that we can make a difference. And so it's so good to be a part of this. Let's do it again.
Both a huge part. Both a huge part. It'll be a live cook along at Doddie Fest. You'll be able to bring your wee van and you'll be able to pretend that you went and caught the fish yourself and all that nonsense you do on the telly. We know.
You don't need to pretend to. You'll catch the fish
and bring it to us.
Gentlemen, lovely to see you. We've got some music. We're going to listen to the award-winning song with the award-winning video, which features, I don't know if you're in it, but I'm in it. That's all that matters.
That is all that matters.
Can you believe that? Can you believe it?
He loves an apron, doesn't he? He loves that beef apron. What's going on there?
No, lamb this year. I think it was beef last year. Yeah, it was. Yeah, there you go. Scotch slam. Breathe in, Rob. Breathe in.
I have a beef one. I have a beef one as well. When you come up, you can have either.
I have two.
Rob's on CcCoist's Wi-Fi.
Lamb. Okay. I made you the promise.
Right. This is turning into the playground. Gentlemen, you are all wonderful humans. Go away. Enjoy the rest of your night. So, you heard about it. We are going to be back. So, watch this. Enjoy. See who you can spot. It's an absolutely fabulous piece of music. As you heard, it got to number 9. The phone call was made. Do you want to be involved? And everybody said yes. Because, like you with us tonight, you want to be part of something. You want to be part of Doddie Aid. You want to be part of the foundation and finding a cure for MND. Enjoy Doddie's dream. Absolutely beautiful. You have to have enjoyed that. It is a stunning piece of music, and knowing where it's come from and the inspiration and the work that went into it just makes it even better. So it's still available to download and enjoy at your leisure, just like hopefully you have done tonight. I'm really not sure where to go with this. I just want to say a massive thank you, and we could list off all the people, but if you're still here and if you've stuck it through, you might not have rode around the UK, you might not cycle around the world in a day, you might not do 500 miles to Wales. If you've lasted almost 4 hours of this, you deserve a bloody medal. Thank you so very, very much for being here. Your engagement on social media has kept us going and kept us inspired. Think of the things that Doddie has brought to you. You've been in CcCoist's living room, east and west wing. You've been in Dougie Vipond's kitchen. You've been with us. You've been through it all. You've cooked, you've drank, you've made merry. Hopefully you've laughed and maybe you've even cried. I hope you've learned a little bit too. And what I want you to do is take that message, go to sleep tonight, confident that you've been part of something special. What do you do in times that are tough? You get together, you need people, and that's what we've done. We've rallied round and we're part of something together, even though we can't be in the same room. It's going to happen. I promise you it's going to happen. We are going to do it when we get out of this nonsense. But until then, stick with us. We'll be back on Wednesday for another live show. There's so much more to go. This has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so very, very much. Stay safe. And we look forward to being together again very, very soon. And in the meantime, hashtag Doddie Aid, not hashtag blame the Doug. It's been an absolute joy. Thank you and good night.